Hello, man babies, and here we are, another season of the Mandalorian Johnson. So I hope you're ready for this one. Just in case you've forgotten what planet you're on and what day it is, it's Wednesday, March the 1st. The year is 2023, the year of our Lord, and I am Ruin Johnson, the greatest arsehole in Hollywood. And I hope you're all doing very, very well. So, on this evening's stream slash podcast slash bitch fest, we are discussing the first episode of season 3 of The Mandalorian. But before we begin, I need to give you a few legal disclaimers and plugs. You can find us on YouTube, or if you prefer your entertainment in podcast form, we're also on Spotify. And the script I have in front of me says we can now also be found on RedTube and on OnlyFans. So do check us out on one of those platforms. And if you've not nodded off already, as Brownie always says, lots to get through, although maybe not so much with this rather short episode. But let's get the goddamn guests out. So, first up, from a VPN far, far away, he's the golden reach around droid, and one of his brethren was in tonight's episode. Let's bring him out. It's Zee-ThreePIO. How are you doing, Z?
Oh, good afternoon, Master Ruin. I am functioning within normal parameters.
Oh, it's so good to hear that, Z. And we did have a bit of a goldenrod on tonight's episode. I bet you're looking forward to getting stuck into that one.
Oh, sir, I spotted no less than 3 different protocol droids. I
Oh,
was
wow.
most excited.
Oh, it's a protocol droid fest tonight. Well, we'll look forward to your breakdown on those, Z. So let's bring out the next arsehole in the pack. So watch out, War and Peace. It's the Star Wars novelist. It's the legend himself, the jester from Leicester. It's Swap Shop. Hello, sir.
Hello there.
Hello,
good
my
to
man.
see you
How
again,
you
Ruin.
doing?
It's
I
been a while.
know. I took an extended break since the end of last year, but I'm back now. I'm back for the Mandalorian. I'm back to shit on Star Wars. I mean, objectively critique it, of course. But are you good, sir? You ready for this one?
Yes, I got my helmet ready.
He's got his helmet ready. He's bathed in the Lake of Redemption, and he's ready to give his full beans
Give it a
on
good
this one.
polish.
Oh yes. Right. So should we get the next arsehole out?
Oh, please do.
I say also with obviously the most the best of intentions. So our next guest is the Dark Sith Lord of everyone. He is the new kid on the block. He's creating waves on YouTube, and he's here tonight with us. It is the man I like to call Dark Sith Lord Jord, but you'll know him as the Little Platoon.
Good evening.
Hello, sir.
Hello. Best of intentions for the best of arseholes, as all the village will agree.
There we go. I give you the full works tonight. I hope you appreciate that one. And you're just fresh from watching the episode, I believe.
Yeah, Pirates of the Mandalorian on Lake Placid. I've caught up.
Arr. Yes, they embrace the full pirates theme tonight. We're going to, I'm sure we'll rip them a new arsehole on that one.
They've even got Davy Jones in it. Oh dear.
Yes, he had the peg leg, he had the hook for a hand. I think I don't know if he had the eye patch, but he had everything else. But oh yes, they give us a lot to go at tonight. It's going to be a fun one. Who else we got lurking in the green room? Should we bring out the next one? So we've got a full lineup for you, man babies, tonight. He is the wise elder of the channel. You know the rest. He is the one, the only, the great Mega Geek, Ian David Diaz. Hello, Mega Geek.
Hello. Hello, everybody. How are we all?
The Mega Geeks landed. Now, I had some particular narrative problems with tonight's episode. I can't wait to hear your take on it.
Dear.
But yes, it did turn into another fetch quest and some rather pointless scenes. But I can't wait. I always enjoy your takes on this, Ian. Your informed takes. Are you ready to rant, sir?
Yeah. Ready to yeah. Well, it'd be interesting to see what everybody else thinks as well. That'd be quite cool. So.
Oh, of course. I'm sure we'll have a nice balanced panel. But believe it or not, we've got one more big giant arsehole in the green room, and I'm going to roll him out. He'll put his Zimmer frame into from park into first gear. Here he is. He is the tight horse from Yorkshire. He is the one, the only. He is my favourite arsehole. He's not Scottish. He's the other one. It is, drum roll, please. It's Mr. Brown. You coming out, Mr. Brown?
Oh, there he is.
Oh God, Brown, get off RedTube.
Well, you did say he was your favourite arsehole, so for all we know, you two are in the same room, and that's the cause of this.
I don't know if that's his chair or his back. How you doing, Brownie?
Ruin, you big man, baby, ruin you.
I know, we've only had 15 innuendos and we're only a few minutes into this goddamn thing. Brownie, I know you've got lots to say and you're going to probably hog this entire episode. And, I know you're a big Disney Star Wars fan, aren't you?
Yes, Captain Kirk is fantastic.
Oh, he does like to troll. Okay, well, look, let's not waste any time because I'm dying to get stuck into this piece of shit. So we are discussing tonight, folks, The Mandalorian. Yes. It is a brand new season 3, can you believe? And it's episode 1. And we are like a shovel off shit. We're all over this one. It's all over the place. It's, yes, it aired just earlier today. We've all been right all over it, and we're going to give you our thoughts. So this episode was called, I believe, The Apostate. The Apostate.
Yeah.
And it was...
yes, prostrate, yes.
The Prostate. Okay.
Right, prostrate.
Prostate.
It
was...
Episode 1.
Should we say hello, chat,
Chapter
first of all, though?
Hello, what?
Hello, chat.
Hello.
Oh, hello to the chat.
Hello.
See,
Hello, chat, we can see you.
It's been so goddamn long. I forgot people actually watch this shit.
You invited Brown onto his
hello
own
to the
stream
chat.
on his own channel, and he's already backseat driving the stream.
Oh,
Yes.
Backseat drivers.
Where's the button to mute Brownie? Somewhere around here. No, of course, we are nothing without the chat. Isn't that what you always say, Brownie?
We are nothing without the chat. It's good to see everybody. Hello, chats. We can see you.
Hello, chat. So, okay, now that our formality's out of the way, let's get down to the hard work. This episode,
Press some buttons.
Press some buttons. Oh, yeah, he needs to do his plugs. Okay, so get your magnifying glass out, folks. Apparently, this says if you have made it this far and you're enjoying the content, I can't believe I'm able to read this. Please share and subscribe. Every single click will generate money which will be sent to Ukraine. So
Not much,
we do appreciate
but it generates something.
Generates yes.
Moving
Click
on.
for Brownie.
Moving on. We just need subscribers, folks. If you like this, keeps me doing it. Simple
Come on.
as. Yeah.
Keep an old man happy, would you, folks? Tell your friends. So this episode written by Jon Favreau and directed by Rick. I can't pronounce his name. Famuyiwa. Is it? It's borderline racist that I can't pronounce his name, but
Is
it's
he
a
black by
strange
any
one.
chance?
What's oh,
I'm asking the question, that's all.
Stream killer. This is going to be a long one tonight, folks.
we could get his channel banned tonight. We'll do our best, folks.
No,
Okay,
that's the Lord's
so
job.
Mandalorian. Here we go. I'm gonna get us to the. Here we go. The chapter 17. What the? Okay, so they're just clocking them all up. Is that what they're doing here? I'll tell you what. First thoughts before we even get into the episode. I'd like to whiz round the group. I heard this week that old Favreau actually has no ending in mind for the Mandalorian, which does smack of typical Disney planning.
Well, didn't he come out and have to clarify the timeline?
Yes.
But he hasn't actually referred to the timeline at all during anything he's done in the show itself. So it's just, well, okay, we'll take your word for it then, John, but okay.
On 10 minutes.
Well, apparently season 1 and 2 take place over many years.
Yes.
Which doesn't make any sense. And Grogu was with Luke training for 2 years before being reunited with the Mandalorian.
What?
But that doesn't make any kind of sense. What was Mando doing during that time? I mean, the Razor Crest was destroyed in chapter 14, and he didn't get his Naboo starfighter until 2 years later, Was he travelling the galaxy on public transport?
He's just sitting on a bus for the entire time.
Yeah, on stagecoach.
I'm going to need a Wookiee Uber.
Yeah, so
how did he actually earn? That's just a lot of time to be wandering around the galaxy 2 years.
And you know, he only came out and said that, I think, because they've decided for this season that they want to jump forward, and they've not done any work to actually set that up. And so maybe they've now got some kind of longer term idea for where they want to end it, and they had to cram the timeline into a new position in order to make that work. But it doesn't make a huge amount, any sense at all. And if you ever spend any time in a writer's room or speak to anyone who's ever written anything, and they will tell you it's all very well for the director or the writer or the person who created it to come out and say after the fact, well, this is what I meant to convey. But unless you've actually put it in what you've created, you might as well not bother saying anything, because that's not what's represented in the show.
But all roads lead to Jake.
Oof. I hope so.
That's
I worked
the
hard
elephant
at
in
that
the
one.
room, by the way, folks. Just
I mean,
get
they
it
did
out
the
of the
same
way,
thing
yes.
in Boba Fett. They said that took place over like 5 years, wasn't it? Whereas it just looked like it took place over 6 months, tops.
I mean, the Tusken sequences did feel like they'd taken place over many, many years, but that's because they just never fucking ended.
The thing about Mandalorian is it's not developing. It's the same thing. It's the same thing since in season 1 and season 2. It's the same thing. That every story's, he does something, then he has to do something to get to that something, and it's the same thing. So it's kind of really hard to follow.
Nerdrotic tonight said it's just video game walk and do tasks.
Yes.
That's what it
feel like
is.
that.
That's exactly what it is.
Every other
hasn't.
episode is a side quest.
Yeah.
Did you notice how short the episode was as well? It's literally 30 minutes. Very, very short.
And this one it's not just one side quest, this one is all side quests. I mean, The Mandalorian throughout season 2, you could say, was becoming quite video gamey, and I think Nerdrotic's right about that. But this episode was the first one that I just sat there watching thinking, yeah, I might as well be holding the PlayStation controller at this point, because that's all this is.
And also, right, when that thing came out the water, the big crocodile thing, why don't they just run to the cave? Why did they decide to take it
Fly
on?
away. You've got
Yeah,
Why
exactly.
did it
Why
fly
don't they
off?
just fly off or something, or just run in the cave or something, or you know what I mean? Why did they decide to take it on? It's going to get tired. It's just going to, it's going to go and it's going to flop around in the sand, and it's going to go back in the water. Do you know what I mean? Why did they feel the need to try and kill it? Anyway. Sorry.
We'll come to that. We'll get there.
Oh, we're itching to go, aren't we? Well, here we go. We open up in this beach scene. In fact, I think just before this one, Brownie's slackened on the old screenshots tonight. We had wasn't there a sequence with the armorer kind of yes, bashing the old helmets, and yes, what we're seeing now is the armorer. She presents the helmet to what I presume is the equivalent of a Padawan Mandalore. All very biblical in the references, but this is the scene you're referring to, Mega Geek. So tee this one up for us, Mega Geek. What the hell's going on here?
Well, this little kid is joining the band, I guess. But I don't understand this, right? So they're not allowed to take their masks off. So how do they brush their teeth, or comb their hair, or know that they've got bad breath or something like that? What? I don't understand the logic behind this. Sorry, what?
Don't take it off in public.
Yeah, impeccable
Well,
beard. And
she said to the little guy,
I think
she
you're
said,
being too
"You're not supposed
literal.
to take your mask off ever." And it's like, well, what? What do you have to sleep in the damn thing? You know what I mean? Just anyway.
There
And
you
also,
go.
isn't he going to grow up and come out of that mask? Because that mask is really small.
Yeah, they
Isn't
said
he
that on
gonna-
thingy.
just like
you
your head's going to
need
blow
a bigger
up or
helmet.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, here we go. Genitalia in the chat. Hold on. If Mando can't ever take his helmet off, how does he ever
Yeah, how do they
or
eat?
clean his teeth
Yeah,
or wash?
Yeah.
How
This
does
is
he
also-
do? How do they do blowjobs? I can't work out what's going on.
They have a special hole for that, I think.
protocol
This
A
is
plates.
glory hole, yes.
This is also the first time, because we were talking just before we came live about all the flaws within this episode. At least it still looks lovely. I mean, the effects are probably
Yeah,
the best
they're
of any
right,
Disney Star Wars TV show, better even than some of the film stuff. However, this particular opening I thought was probably the worst in terms of visuals. Some of the helmets do just look incredibly cheap, tacky, and mass produced, and especially when they're very new and clean, which the young kids one happens to be. Of course, having a clean helmet is usually a good thing. but
Oh yes.
you do want to prove wear and tear as well, which they haven't done, and just weird color schemes and everything. But just to go back, because I know we started off by saying like first thoughts about this, and there was a missing slide. There was actually, if I remember rightly, the flashbacks come, the remembrance scene come before this one, which is already getting this show off to a really terrible start. Because, okay, you've had the Book of Boba Fett, in which there are, 3 very important Mando Grogu episodes, which you won't know about unless you've seen that episode. And you'll need to know about that because, hey, Grogu's back, right? If you were going to flash back to anything in the flashbacks at the beginning of this one, you would think maybe flashback to something that people actually need to know. So from a show they might not have seen, the Book of Boba Fett stuff. But instead they don't. Instead they flash back to Droid from season 1 for reasons we'll come on to. And other just vaguely sort of useful to this episode, but not useful for background material, which is what the point of the flashbacks are supposed to be. But it does again prove the real issue I think this show has, which is that it's devoted the first half of its season to a different show entirely. This is an average mid-season episode. The season started in the Book of Boba Fett. I'm actually going to go and watch after this. I'm going to go back and watch the Mando episodes in Boba Fett and then lead it straight into this one, because I'm sure it will make more sense if I do it that way. But most of the people who watch this episode won't have done that. So there we are.
Yes, it's they're really starting to tie themselves in knots, aren't they? And it's for me. I mean, having watched all of this shite, but Mando, okay, look, we know it's not great, but for me, it's just about the best of the bunch in terms of the I know the controversy. I know everyone's raving about Andor. Andor just didn't do it for me, folks. But
Andor sucked.
yeah. Oh, I'm glad you're with me on that, Mega
I'm
Geek.
with
The
you
Lord
on that
likes
one.
it.
Who?
The Lord loves it.
I don't care.
Lord loves it.
He loves it.
I
But yeah, Mando for me is just that, it's got there's something there. There's a bit of potential, particularly that first season, but it doesn't make sense if you've got to go and watch. It's the old bullshit we had with the sequels, isn't it? You have to read the supplementary text. You have to watch the other
Mine's on order.
episodes, the other shows, and it's really.
Did you
flawed in its
think that
approach.
the proposal first, before they made the Mandalorian, was let's make a Boba Fett series, and then Kathleen Kennedy said no because that's old Star Wars, we want new Star Wars? Do you reckon that was it? Because when I saw a picture of the Mandalorian, I thought it was a Boba Fett series, and I was quite excited. And then somebody said no, it's not Boba Fett, and I said but he looks like Boba Fett, and he's like no, he's a Mandalorian. I'm like, what the fuck is a Mandalorian? And they're like, well, it's these. I'm like, what? Do you know what I mean? So, whatever. Anyway, I'll stop
Do
there.
you think it was a case of I think you're dead right. I think they thought about a Boba Fett and they said no, we can't do that. Make our own version. And then the Mandalorian was so goddamn popular. It said no, quickly now we need a Boba Fett series. And now
I think that is the reason. Like, my running theory is that Star Wars projects will only have a chance of being good if the person who proposes them does it in such a way that Kathleen Kennedy doesn't immediately take an interest in it.
Yeah.
So the Mandalorian, if Jon Favreau goes to Kathleen and says, hey, there's this, what about this show called The Mandalorian? She doesn't know what a Mandalorian is because she doesn't know anything about Star Wars, despite having worked on it for however many decades, as you can tell from her neck. But then you get this thing through, and because she wasn't paying attention, season 1 is allowed to do stuff. It's allowed to be a little bit more experimental. It's allowed to try and tell small-scale stories that aren't particularly relevant to the grander galaxy, reintroduce us to these things slowly and comfortably and nicely, allow us to remember all the things we used to like about the world of Star Wars. And it did well for that. But then it was really popular. And so Kathleen gets involved, and Kathleen says, well, we need spin-offs, obviously. Monetize. Boba Fett, bring him in. And now, of course, it's so popular that it has to go somewhere. And I don't necessarily think Favreau had a good idea when he started where he wanted this story arc to go. He had a brilliant premise. Let's have this bounty hunting Mandalorian find little pop culture icon Grogu and just go on disconnected adventures together. That's a lovely premise, but now you do actually have to take the story somewhere. And so the further we go down when it's trying to get into a story, the worse the writing is getting because they don't have a clue what they're doing. And this episode is another example of that.
I think he did have an idea of what he wanted to do originally, but it's the stench of Kennedy. I just think
how dare you?
there's just sorry.
I just
interference.
I agree.
Interference is
I
killing
agree
us.
with Ryan. You know, it is probably the best out of the bunch, but not. I mean, it's like saying, I don't know. It's like saying I like a donut, please. Do you know what I mean? That kind of thing. You get enjoyment eating a donut, and that's it. You forget about it. That's what Mandalorian is. It's like McDonald's, isn't it? You know, it looks nice, it tastes nice, and then afterward, you forget about it. So the thing is, though, it's not making a mark, as far as I'm concerned, as a
Stain,
Star
like-
Wars, as a Star Wars series, as part of the Star Wars world, because it's trivial, isn't it? The stories are just rubbish. They're just like he goes off and then he has to do another thing to get to another thing, and then and as the Lord said, it's like a computer game. And this beginning
good one
of the
either.
show doesn't make any sense. Why did that thing come out the water? Why didn't they just run?
Yeah,
Why did they shoot at it?
This is all the stuff as well that season 1 of The Mandalorian at least did a reasonably good job with, which is why are these people in the places they're in, and why are they living there? What is the place like? But with this episode, you start off on wherever the hell they are now, and the immediate question is, well, how long have they been there? How did they not know that there was a giant crocodile in the small lake that's right next to their cave? Why are they there in the first place? How do they live there? And how have they lived there so long without knowing that the giant crocodile was about to come and eat them all?
Well, simply because Death Watch are stupid. They've got Beskar armor, blasters, knee rockets, whistling bird guided missiles, big sticks, but they don't have anything for proximity threat detection.
And all purchased from Disney parks.
It does look
Or
rather
Toys
cheap,
R Us.
doesn't it? Yeah.
It just,
It's
it
honestly,
really, it
it's
really
the
doesn't
cleanness.
make any sense, does it? It's a load of
It's
bollocks.
the cleanness of the helmets that's doing it. That is the.
Oh,
real
you don't like the
problem.
cleany helmets?
The clean
He
helmets
likes
are
them
just
dirty.
so.
does
I mean,
Silverlock,
no,
yes.
it
You
looks bad.
love dirty helmets.
I mean, yeah, but
And it looks like
Okay.
quite a hot place, doesn't it? It looks like it's quite hot. It's like there's sand and everything. There's the sun. Man, they must stink if they haven't got any deodorant. I tell you that for them, because they got a mask on, they got everything on, haven't they? So
The armorer's got some kind of fairy kind of I don't know what it is, cloak, or is that a hair maybe coming out the back of the mask? I don't know what's
I
going
don't
on.
know.
Hey Z3,
Maybe
let me we can't proceed beyond this scene without getting your feedback on the armorer's golden dome there. What are you making of that?
Oh, I do like a nice shiny helmet, sir, all polished up.
The armor's not a bad character though, is she? I mean, I know we only see her in fleeting
Emily
moments.
Swallow.
Does she?
does she?
No, her name's Emily Swallow.
The helmet.
I feel like there's a pun coming on, Brown.
No, that's her name. Swallow by name.
Away from the innuendos, just temporarily. What I think, I'm pretty sure what they were trying to do with this was bait and switch. I think what they thought they were doing was having the audience ask, "Oh, is this Mando's backstory? Is this how he gets his helmet? Is this how he joins the tribe?" Because then you get the reveal of him flying in subsequently, which is, I think, supposed to be that sort of, oh no, it's not backstory after all. We are currently in the present day, and it makes less sense because of it.
Nerdrotic said the
think
boy
you're
is
right.
probably somebody. It's probably somebody's son who's connected with the production unit. Saying, "Now we'll put." They said to John, can you do a scene for my lad? It'll make his day.
Special
There you
effects
go.
were quite good in this scene, though, even though it was a bit stupid.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I thought
Well,
there were
yeah,
lots of
we're
them as
about
well.
we're about to meet this giant sea creature thing, aren't we? I think someone said it in the chat. Why the hell were they doing this ceremony in the lake when it's so goddamn dangerous? And you assume they know this creature resides there. I don't know, but
So
yeah,
just
we
logistically, I mean, look how tiny that body of water is,
Yeah.
and how big the monster is that comes out of it. So they were standing in the water and it was knee height, but apparently this giant, like 50-foot tall crocodile is fully submerged and just waiting. Or is that just an effect of like the distance shot? Is the mountain behind actually much closer than it looks?
Well, maybe it swam. It's deeper further out, and then it just swam towards them.
But it's still fully underwater.
I
And it's about
know,
5
yeah.
yards away from them.
It's stupid.
Bollocks.
It's
I mean, you assume it's amphibious. Doesn't it have legs? It's got legs as well as
it?
obviously. Yeah.
No
here you
crocodile that small can have a cloaking device.
Here you go, Tim. I like to send this Hannah bomb. It's Jimmy Kimmel's son. Wow.
Oh, is it?
Is it
Is it?
really?
Yeah.
Oh,
Wow.
God.
So where did all these Mandos come from? Didn't Death Watch get wiped out in season 1?
Yeah. They're all
I'm
new
pretty
ones.
sure they did.
They're all new.
She's not doing very well, is she? Every time she hooks
No.
up with them, a load of them die.
Not all of them have jetpacks.
Very stupid.
So
They
there
have
you go.
legs, though. They could run away.
They can
Yeah.
swim for it.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
If that thing came out there, you'd just run, wouldn't you? You just like,
Well,
it's gonna.
I'd-
You'd run. Why
I'd
would you want to
soil
fight
my
it?
underwear, then I'd run.
Yeah. Why would you want to fight it? It's like it's just an excuse for another shoot 'em up. That's
Yeah.
what it is.
Here you go. Bad Pecs Alpha confirmed. There you go.
Yeah.
Sorry, Ruin. I'm overtaking.
No,
Sorry,
you're
sorry,
just doing what you always do, for God's
Sorry,
sake.
it's presenter mode.
Is Swappers still alive? I
Yeah,
want
is
to
he
speak
alive?
to
Swappers, are you there, mate?
I am. You're all saying exactly what I'm thinking. To be honest,
why
with
don't you say
Just
something?
in Chat. This thing. I was thinking. Actually, that CG is pretty good. I do like that CG.
Yes.
It is pretty
It just
good.
reminded me of obviously a lot of the budget went into that thing, but it reminded me of that holographic thing that we see online on social media all the time when those kids are sat in that gym with the whales like coming out of the floor with the holographic kind of thing. Have everyone's seen that thing? It's supposed to make everyone realize how lifelike holograms can be or whatever. It's augmented reality, but it's like it's like the gym floor covered in water is about as deep as that water right there. It's just utterly ridiculous how something that big can come out and start eating people, and they didn't think anyone would notice. I mean, I suppose it's all like, oh, look at the lasers, look at the Mandalorians. Oh, it's amazing. All the fanboys are going to be out there just like gushing over it and not give a damn about it whatsoever. But those discerning sci-fi fans amongst us, all the panel here included, I'm sure,
That's not us then.
can spot this shit a mile away straight away, and it's like you might not necessarily notice at the time, but once the credits start rolling, you sort of sit back and start thinking, don't you? And you just go, oh, that was a bit shit. wasn't it?"
I felt genuinely sorry for Lizzo.
So did I.
Yeah, she didn't deserve it. Killed it.
Brown,
Awful,
that's another one,
awful.
mate. You're on fire.
This picture, right?
I mean, oh,
It's weird because that guy looks like he's 10 feet taller than all the rest of them. I think he's in the air, right? He really does, doesn't he?
yes.
He's in the air, right? Okay. Yeah, because this thing's
A lot of Jurassic Park mentions in the chat, and you're absolutely right. It did have a feel of Jurassic Park, particularly. I can't remember which bloody film it's from, but I think it was the first of the new Jurassic Park
What do you
films,
think about
the sea creature one. It does feel a lot like that,
Yeah.
but no, I think Meg Geek's right. There is some nice CGI, even though the scene itself doesn't make an awful lot of sense, and the motives of the characters and the reactions. But really, some nice CGI work here. We have to hand it to them.
This isn't real Star Wars, okay, right? So if you take all the 3 classic films, they had a narrative, they had a story. There was reasons why people went here, there, and everywhere, and it's reasons why they fight. But it seems like they've lost. People who make Star Wars today, they've lost the idea of telling a good story. I mean, as I said,
Isn't it?
what was the point of this?
It's because the story is so incredibly shallow. So that we're here and we have to spend the first 5 minutes doing a fight scene in order that Mando turns up and really just goes back through the events that we saw already in the Book of Boba Fett, where he's reminded, and the audience is reminded, that he's been excommunicated. The only new piece of information is that he found off-screen some kind of thing that apparently comes from Mandalore. But the entire scene is only there because we need an excuse to have Mando here. But we only have Mando here because he has to have one conversation. So it is just padding with action. And like so much of this episode is just padding with action because the story beats themselves are tiny. Mando goes here because he has to have a quick chat with someone. But the episode needs to be 35 minutes long.
Yeah.
So we can do that in 60 seconds, 5 minutes of action.
5
He can
minutes
go and do the
trailers.
next conversation or the next quick time event, to follow the video game analogy further.
There's no sense of wonder either in these new Star Wars films. I remember the first time when it see Empire Strikes Back and that shot where you saw the snow and everything. It was like a high angle shot, and there was a sense of wonder about it. And then you see the Tauntaun come on, and you're like, wow. Do you know what I mean? It's that wow factor. Because CGI is in so many films and so many TV shows, it doesn't do anything for anyone. now. They've got. I mean, if I was in charge of Star Wars, you've got to start thinking seriously. What do you do? What kind of story, and what do you do? Do you know what I mean? This is ridiculous because, as I said, none of this thrilled me at all. It was a CGI thing. They were shooting, and that was it.
It's also it's repetitive, and we had the entire Crate Dragon sequence in season 1, which plays a very similar function, except that actually was tied into the culmination of that story arc, whereas this one is just here for padding. So even within the Mandalorian's own oeuvre, the writing quality is just not. It's declining quite quickly. Once upon a time, you at least had big battles like this as the culmination of story, whereas now they are just there to look impressive, and that's it.
Somebody said cocaine lizard.
yeah.
It's the Meth Gator. The Meth Gator ad. This is it.
Yes.
Meth Gator
It
episode
looks
1.
impressive, but it doesn't make sense. I mean, you've got to wonder the logical process of half a dozen of them firing tether lines and thinking they can pull it.
That was ridiculous. Yeah, that was What device can we use next? I think someone did the old flamethrower. Then they tried the tether lines.
Quick, try the knee rockets. The knee rockets will do.
Here you go, Hostman at Mr. Brown Alliance. That's me. The Crate Dragon sequence was stolen from KOTOR.
Knights of the Old Republic. It was,
very good.
and KOTOR did it slightly better. It just didn't look as good.
I don't know. They're doing it all wrong. This should be in a Boba Fett series. They should have had a Han Solo and Lando Calrissian series. You know, that's what they should have done instead of this rubbish. They're trying to create new stuff on top of the old Star Wars. It's obvious that people want old Star Wars. They don't want this new KK stuff at all. And I'm sorry, Jon Favreau, but I enjoyed the first season of Mandalorian, even though it was full of faults. I thought it was going to improve, but it didn't. It just stayed the same, and this one's this episode's no exception. So it's going to be a
Joaquin Wardrobe nailing it there. By the way, in the chat, that was the obvious way
Why
to.
didn't they just all just fly away and live and let live? That's my motto.
Exactly.
Oh,
but as the Lord says, they have to fill time, don't they? They have to fill time, and this is the reason why that's there. You know, so.
Why is he shooting a flamethrower at it?
Exactly,
It's in the water.
exactly.
In water. It
it's
looks
the
great.
equivalent of flossing. He's just cleaning some of the tartar off its tooth. That's all he's doing. Yeah, it was a strange one. I mean, all the chaps on the left there trying to drag it along. I mean, this thing must weigh about 500,000 tons. I don't know. But no, look, CGI, great. Actual point of the scene, not so great. And
Common sense nil. CGI 10, common sense nil. Yeah.
And then who do we have coming to save the day in his
B.A.
custom
Baracus.
fighter? Yes, it's our old friend Mando, and I think Chord was right there. I think we were almost trying to dupe us into the switch and bait, but
here we go. Chile, anyways. Andor is here we go. Start again. Andor is by far the best Disney Plus show. It blows everything out of the water in pretty much every category.
I think if you combined Andor's writing in terms of the fact that it makes sense and is quite clever with the Mandalorian's action sequences, you would have a pretty universally adored Star Wars show. Andor, we've had this argument many times. I like Andor, but I do accept that many people found it boring. But it wasn't stupid, whereas The Mandalorian isn't boring, but it is stupid. So if you combine intelligent with action, you will get something good. Maybe get Jon Favreau together with, what's his name, who did Andor, and try and combine the two.
What about just sacking Kathleen Kennedy?
what?
No, she's under contract. Plus, you've got who's the guy? Is it Bob Paycheck's back now, isn't he? He's
the wokest.
He's basically going to be supporting KK, isn't he? So she's not going anytime soon. So there you go.
I forgot to say as well, there is a drinking game, everyone, if you want to play along tonight. So
Actually, I'd already started. What are the rules?
Oh, well, the rules are, you'll be thankful that we didn't start already. Every time you hear the line, "This is the way," you take a drink, and obviously that's already happened about 15 times by this point. Every time there's a member berry, we'll take a little drink. Every time there's a flute, although we won't see it, of course, but the little flute music, but when you're watching the show, maybe. And what was the other one? I put it out on Twitter.
Every time I make an arsehole of myself.
Oh, just
Drink.
intravenous alcoholic drip straight into your veins then.
You'd be very drunk then.
Here you go. Okay. There you go, folks.
Ban him from the stream, Brown. I won't be having that.
I think he's going to get banned.
Okay,
He's going to be on timeout for at least 10 years with comments like that.
I don't know if anyone else had the same vibes, but there's at several points in this episode I got prequel vibes. Did anyone else?
I think that was the idea. The idea was you were supposed to get the vibes of absolutely everything. I mean, when we later get to the planet, I can't remember what the name of the planet is they go to, but the entire introduction to the planet's new form is just vibing for every era of Star Wars, right up until Babu Frick even. But there's pretty cool stuff in this, and I love the M1 stuff. Right? I think it's a beautifully designed ship, and I like seeing it. It's just I would also like it to be part of a story, as opposed to just I remember that looks nice.
I remember stuff.
This ship,
Drink.
I always get confused. I always think it's flying backwards. That ship for some reason.
Agreed.
Is it? Hang on, help me out here. Is the pointy bit the front or the back?
No, it's
the
not.
back.
It's the back. That's why I keep thinking it's flying backwards. When I see it, I'm like, oh, it's flying backwards. No, it's not.
At least it's not an iron.
Oh, the last one. The first one.
This nice big engine mod in the middle, despite the engines actually being on the nacelles.
Bit
Bit
of a
folks.
pod racer design.
Bigger
almost,
folks.
isn't it?
Hal Murray 9000 Pub Motherboard asking the tough questions. Where is the toilet?
Well, if you knew anything about Star Wars, you'd know that it's in Mandalorian culture that you shit in your helmet and then put it back on. That's the correct way to deal with
Probably
that.
genuinely does just recycle it into water that you drink from.
So this is a cockpit shot, isn't it? Got to be careful how you say
Easy for you to
that.
say.
Yeah.
That's the attention to detail, though, with the aesthetics in this show. It's not just that it looks sort of superficially nice from the outside, but the attention to detail on the inside. It's clearly being designed by people who do genuinely love this stuff. If you go into the M1's cockpit, which I think is in this scene, you can go back to find like the Battle of Naboo game on the N64, and the cockpit design is exactly the same. And it's the same as the cockpit design from the episode 1, I think, for the most part as well. I mean, it's clearly been done by people who pay attention to this stuff because they love it. It's just that same attention to detail has not been applied to the writing of the show. So it looks amazing, and I love the way it looks. But it's not enough.
The costumes suck as well in this show. The costumes, they really do.
Eager folks. Chris Haley or Halley, how does one stow and return a bounty in that ship? I don't think it was designed to be a bounty hunter ship.
That was always the problem with giving it to him.
The other ship was better, in my
the Razor
opinion.
Crest,
Just best test ever. It's just political correction, everyone. You can't call it a cockpit anymore. It's now a gender-neutral crotch pit.
Right,
So, I do
stop the stream.
apologise.
Cancel the stream, everybody. That's it. Moving on.
Is Swapper still alive?
I am indeed. Yes.
Swappers, I want to ask you,
away at that
Swappers.
last comment. It's so true.
It is very good. Swappers, where do you rank this ship in your list of iconic Star Wars ships? And I'm assuming it's not going to make the top, but is it, there's a nice shot of it there.
The original N1 from episode 1 was incredible. Absolutely incredible design. Like nothing we'd ever seen before in Star Wars. It was mind-blowing. And I absolutely loved it. When I first saw it, I was kind of a bit, this is a bit weird. I'm not sure about this. The engines are at the front and stuff, it's weird. But the more I saw it, the more I really liked it. And when I went and bought the toy from it back in 1998 or 99 or whenever it was, it was just one of my favorite ships. It looked incredible. And then just loved seeing it on the screen, loved seeing them dart about in the background in space and stuff. And then I think they want to they want to capitalize on that. They want to mine that nostalgia. So they thought, what can we do now? Mando's ship's blown up. What can we do? There's something that hasn't been in Star Wars for a while. Let's get that back in. Everyone loves that, don't they? So they just slapped an M1 in there and changed it by 25%. And didn't basically took away most of what made it look appealing. So they've stripped away the gold paint, made it look all gappy and holy like Luke's land speeder from Star Wars, the first movie, and took the droid thing out and everything and just swapped it around a bit, and it looks a bit meh now, to be honest with you.
They did that, didn't they? Because they had to have the entire callback to Anakin's pod race build in season 2 when he gets the ship, and you see them putting the ship together using the pit droids. Like, the entire reason this ship exists is because they were trying to do a prequel callback earlier in the show.
Yeah.
But apparently, according to Jon Favreau, he's now had 2 years with this ship, during which he's not thought to put the rest of the armor on it. So
It's crazy, yeah, exactly. And the also at one point we see Grogu in the little sort of secondary cockpit behind him, and he disappears from there and suddenly miraculously, mysteriously
he
appears on
crawls.
his lap.
Yeah, he crawls.
Yeah.
Well, since when have the two things been connected? And you didn't even see him like crawling through a little.
He has the Force.
way or anything.
Where's the Force, mate?
He has the Force.
Christ, a fan.
That's the explanation for anything now, isn't it? It's like,
right.
yeah, space voodoo. Yeah, it's just space voodoo.
Yeah.
Look at this nice smiley
Oh,
croc. He's just
oh.
having
How
a
many noses
nice
has he got?
day.
I didn't like it. I know it's CGI, but I didn't genuinely like it. Totally unnecessary.
disturbing.
Totally unnecessary.
This is the thing, right? The thing about CGI is that you know it's not real, right? God, I hate to say this, but I prefer the models, and it might sound old-fashioned, but the reason the models work so much because it comes across as a magic trick. You wonder how they do it when you see the real models, don't you? But then with CGI, you know how they do it. It's all done in a computer.
Yeah.
So it's just,
Whereas
I don't know, it just holds
Ray-
nothing for me.
Harryhausen when you need him.
there's more
Whoa.
attention to practicality and detail when you're using models. Like, how do these things feel like they should move? So if
Yeah.
you compare
Hey.
the way the X-Wings fly in A New Hope to the way the X-Wings fly in The Force Awakens,
Yes.
and the type of moves they pull,
Yeah.
in The Force Awakens, it seems unrealistic. It seems stupidly tight turns, stupidly high speeds, because they're all computer animated, so you don't really have that sense of physicality to it. And this as well, if you've built yourself a giant prop monster, you might pay more attention to things like, how far away do I want to stand from this thing when I'm
exactly.
shooting my gun at it? Do I want to be standing next to its head, or do I want to be running away from it and shooting with my ranged weapon from range? It's a substitute for thought, really, which is a problem.
It is, and as I was saying, you're right, because if that was a real model, whatever, like they did in Jurassic Park. So in Jurassic Park, they built a huge T-Rex and they mixed that with the CGI. That was a clever thing because
amazing.
the actors can see it as well as it can interact in real time on the set. But with this, it's just all CGI. So it could be a mistake that they're closer to it. Maybe they didn't think it was going to be close. Do you know what I mean? So it's just, I reckon CGI should only be there to supplement something that's real on the set, not to be the entire thing. That's what I think. But anyway.
They're going
I digress.
They're going to be eating gator burgers for about 10 years.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, poor Croc. Is this the end of him now? Is it?
Oh.
Is he? Yeah. Was this Mando? Or was it the explosive devices they planted? I can't remember. Or was it a combination of the
that
lot?
was
or whatever?
Mando.
It was Mando destroyed it, killed it.
He did take out a couple of Mandalorians, though, I think, didn't he? I mean, he didn't go down
Well, they
without a
deserved
fight.
it. Here you go. Channel favourites in the chats. Sorry, moved up. Velma Dinklage in the chats. Gator burgers. Yes.
You didn't
See
even
that-
try
Favourite
spinning. That's a good trick.
So that
Look at
ship,
that.
right? How's
Look at
that?
I
Wouldn't that?
understood that reference.
Isn't it like sort of like? How does that balance then when it lands? Has it got legs that come out or something? Does
Uses
anybody
the
know?
Force.
Because it's heavy on the top, and so it would tip.
Yeah.
It'll tip forward, wouldn't it?
I think it's
Bit like
front heavy because
Jordan.
all the engine weights at the front, because obviously
Yeah.
those are the cells. So when it lands without landing gear, I think, on its engines. Though I'm trying to remember the hangar scene in episode 1 and whether it's on a
Legs.
scaffold. I think it's on a scaffold in episode 1.
Right.
Here you go. Edge of time. Hello, Edge. Oh man. Gator again. Yeah.
Yeah. Sad
Sick of eating
times.
gator.
Yes, regarding the ship landing, just to draw a parallel, which maybe some of you can relate to. If you've ever sat on your own balls, that's what it feels
Frequently.
like to land this ship.
Look at that. That's beautiful, is that? That's fantastic.
You reckon? It looks like a painting. It doesn't look real. That's the problem with this. It really doesn't look real.
Stylized. It's still okay, I think.
Oh, we've got the director versus the visual effects
Yeah.
guy here. This is good.
fuck does he
We'll have
know?
more of
What does
this.
he know?
Yeah, exactly.
Moving on.
Brownie, I don't even think I said it. I want to compliment you on the opening graphic for this episode. I thought it was
Oh, thank you very much.
very nice, sir. So I just thought I'd get that in. There we go.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate that.
And there we go. The
Gator.
victorious Mandalorians and the guts of the croc scattered across the beach.
Gator burgers for 20 years. The
Oh,
amount of meat that's on there.
Kebabs.
Yeah.
yeah. The helmets will stink of
Meat.
badly cooked croc.
If you have a look at the one on the far right, she's got boob armor. Shad's going to go mad.
She has,
Oh.
yeah, she has.
Oh, wow.
She's going to get plenty of meat tonight.
Oh, God. So when Mandalorians are banging, do they keep the helmets on as everything else comes off? Is that the deal?
Is it fucking clank?
As I said,
clank.
when was the Mandalorians created? That's what I want to know. In the Star Wars history, was it created via the cartoons? Or
I'm not
was
bothered
it-
about that. How did they swap spit?
No, what I'm saying is that I don't understand the logic behind their religion. I don't understand it at all. As I said, when was it created? Does anybody know?
Z will know better than I do, but I thought it was an old expanded universe thing.
It is, yeah. It goes back to Mandalore the Great, who was the first Mandalorian to be entered into the Jedi Order. It's like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years old.
Oh, okay. The rules don't make any sense, though. It's stupid.
Well, they did used to make sense, I think, because some thought actually went into depicting how they operated as a society. And there's a war, isn't there, between the Jedi and the Mandalorians, and the Mandalorian uprising, and then the Sith Empire attack in like 2,000 or 3,000 years before the Republic, and a lot of work was done in the old expanded universe, and even in the Knights of the Old Republic games, to actually convey the society these people lived in, the beliefs they operated by. And it was, it was fairly bog standard warrior code stuff, but it did at least make sense. This is kind of borrowing bits and pieces from all of that old material, but it's not managed to knit them together in any kind of sensible way. So now you get, well, you can only be redeemed if you go to the lake underneath the city center and
they
the
made that
destroy
up.
planet. It's like, well, no.
They made that up as they went along.
Here you go, folks.
MacGuffin
In the
of clock.
chats, MC, hello, MC. Rest in peace, Croculon.
Oh,
Brilliant. Brilliant.
hey,
Brilliant.
not bad for a Wednesday,
Brilliant.
folks. Come on.
MC,
a lot of
you
things
can come
about
back here, mate,
Mandalorians
Colin.
don't make sense, like the winning the darksaber through combat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In
Yeah,
Star
that's the
Wars
other one,
Rebels, Sabine Wren actually handed it over to Bo-Katan.
And what was the point of giving Grogu away to Luke, and then suddenly he's got him back? It's like, well,
You're
the
missing
whole...
2 years there, Ian.
Oh.
Now,
up,
just
Ian.
going back
Keep
to,
up.
3 episodes of the Book of Boba Fett. You'll have to go and rewatch it to make sense of it.
you have to read the supplementary text, Mega Geek.
I stopped watching Boba Fett. One episode was enough for me, and that was enough. I just left
There
it.
were a few decent episodes in Boba Fett.
No, they weren't. He was
The
fat, and he was bald, and he was ugly.
the Mandalorian ones,
What?
yeah.
The Mandalorian ones.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Just going back to the earlier points about how does Grogu get from the kind of rear?
Of course.
Yeah, there's no obvious route through, is there? I mean, it's
Yes,
not.
there is. Yes, there is.
Yeah.
When he
Really?
goes down, there's a little tunnel.
When he goes down.
When he goes down,
Right.
there's a little
Passage,
tunnel.
there's a
Right.
back passage.
Okay.
Back
We're going to
passage.
get to the bottom of this, folks.
It goes down
Let's
on
see
his
the
back
profile of the
passage.
ship.
What?
He goes down and he comes between Mandale's legs.
What?
That's where he comes out.
Oh, it goes down. There's a helmet and
I'm
there's a
watching the
back
porn
passage.
parody of
And,
There is such an obvious Disney joke to be made about the child coming up through the Mandalorian's legs, but I'm not going to make that joke, so we'll
But you
move
just
on.
did, and that's goodbye
No.
monetization.
I just said that the joke
Oh,
exists.
no.
I didn't make it.
Oh, that's okay then. Okay, moving on.
nice little disclaimer. I like it a lot.
Mr. Brown's now shopping at Lidl rather than Asda this week.
So,
Well
like
done.
Lidl.
Guys, I read that Pascal, whatever his name is, he's not even in the costume anymore. He just voiceovers this.
Oh
Yeah.
God!
It's surprising.
Wow, what was that all about then? Him taking his mask off and demanding that the audience see his face, and now he's not even playing him; he's just doing the voiceover.
So it's
What's that all
literally
about?
phoning it in.
Yes.
Hey, kid. Moving on.
What rubbish.
I was looking at the design of this ship, right, and I was thinking, like, they've given it an extra engine underneath for some reason, right? I don't know why, but it's now got 3 engines because, it's got to be better and bigger and faster or whatever, thanks to JJ. And the way that droids used to actually get access to the ship was by a door underneath it used to open, and the droid used to wheel along underneath in episode 1 and sort of slide itself up underneath, and then the head used to pop out the top.
Or like a back
Oh,
door.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like basically backdoor access. And the
Did they get
with
bashed?
this, they've stopped that access now. So I don't know how R5D4 later in the series is going to get into this because the engine's in the way. So it's just they don't think about stuff like that. The basic things like that.
Here you go, folks, in the chat, Andy Mouse 123. I like Lidl. Yeah, so do I.
Yeah.
It's my favourite supermarket. Moving on.
It's cheap.
Like Star Wars. Okay, so we're moving towards the
having a
sex scene
meeting
now, aren't we?
Yeah, a meeting.
It's a sex scene now. No, I can't even recall what this conversation is. Someone might have to help me. But,
basically, he gives her the piece and says that he found this piece and it proves that the place exists and he can go and wash himself and be dissolved of his sins, whatever it is, blah blah blah. And if he does that, he's saying, "Can he come back to the fold?" She says, "Yes, if you can do that." Blah blah blah. And then he goes off
thank
on
God
another
for
stupid
Meggie.
story.
Which
Yes.
is again a problem because it isn't his exile in the episode of the Book of Boba Fett. So
Yes, it
really,
is.
all this is there to do is to remind people who didn't see that episode of why he's not there anymore. But again, pretend that you hadn't seen the Book of Boba Fett and you're just a Mandalorian fan and you've come straight from season 2 to this episode. Your question is going to be, wait, what? I was exiled? And then that's the explanation we're given is, well, that happened. I think I'd want to know more than that, to be honest. And then the device, which is, well, I found a traveler off screen who gave me this thing, which has some writing, which is Mandalorian on it. Therefore, I can still go back to the planet and you'll forgive me. This is the way. This is not writing. This is fast forwarding, which is very, very different.
Yeah, but you know what's happening with Disney. They're hiring people that don't know how to write. They don't have a 3-act structure anymore. And plus, you get the feeling they're making this up as they go along. Especially with Boba Fett.
If I may, I'll just
not surprised.
It's not just Disney; it's everybody because nobody knows how to write anymore. So it's just not Disney; it's other companies as well. It's affecting everything.
It is, isn't it? But anyway, whatever. They did this so they can recap, but they can tell the audience what's going on. They had a little pew pew in the beginning, so because the fill time. And I don't understand what these whales were when they were traveling through.
Yeah,
through
well,
the,
I was
what
hoping
they
one of
are.
you guys could explain because I had
can,
no
yes.
fucking idea what was going on here. I mean, first of all, is this some kind of hyperspace travel? Because
It
Probably
is.
hyperspace alien or something that lives in hyperspace. I don't
Yeah,
know.
they're from
Purple.
I think Z was just about to jump in, but
Here we
they're
go,
from
folks.
the
Here we go.
Rebels show. And they turned up right at the end of the season when they grabbed hold of the ship that Ezra and Thrawn were in and hyperspaced them off to somewhere in the galaxy where no one's found them yet. So we're getting a hint that they're going to be coming into either this show or the Ahsoka show or something somewhere down the line. So they're showing those creatures again for the first time in God knows how many years. But that's what they are. They travel through hyperspace. So
Are
that's
they
why we're seeing them.
are they the whales from Star Trek 4?
Yes.
Swim killer. Sorry,
God.
killed it. Sorry.
He's never more than 30 minutes away from a Star Trek reference, is he?
Sorry. Sorry.
So, look, help me out here. I thought small fighters couldn't travel through hyperspace.
It depends on the fighter. So, like, TIE fighters couldn't fly through hyperspace until Ryan Johnson turned up.
Yeah.
Or was that
Oh,
JJ? One of the two of them. But some small fighters can, so X-Wings can if they've got hyperdrives built into them. So it's not strictly a size thing. It's more a case of what is the ship supposed to be used for.
Yeah.
With hyperspace whales, that's grating a little bit. So I don't think Star Wars has never had to explain what it really means by hyperspace. What it depicts hyperspace as is just super fast travel between places, which is one definition of hyperspace, I guess. If you want to get there's a more theoretical definition of hyperspace, which is that it is a largely fictitious, but it's a different region of space through which you are traveling. But I don't think most Star Wars fans would be aware of that distinction, or even think that all they're doing is just all they're doing is traveling through a region of space rather than just going very, very quickly through somewhere. So I was watching this and I forgot temporarily that that's what hyperspace was meant to be. So I looked at that and I thought, wait, there are creatures that are traveling through hyperspace at super speed. That slightly jars the senses a bit. But it's never really had to delve into what hyperspace means because it's never really been relevant to it. Whereas if they are now introducing creatures which travel through hyperspace, then it's going to have to do more of that, and I think it will do it badly.
Here you go, folks. Marco Kane. I like episode 1, season 3. You guys are a bunch of whining scrubs. Yes.
Now, these things, the Purrgil, can actually be quite sizable. One of them actually pulled an entire Star Destroyer into hyperspace. So they are.
But do we
quite
really
large.
need this? Because the cartoons did it. Do we really need this in Star Wars lore? I mean,
Well,
God,
it
why?
exists in universe, so it
Uh,
does
if-
kind of make sense.
If I may, could I just say, if Marco is enjoying the episode, good for
That's
him.
good. Yeah, that's good.
He wins. He wins.
No, get him
Oh.
off. I'm not,
Good
having
for
any,
you.
not having any positivity.
Sorry,
around here. Get
Marco.
him off.
Sorry, mate. Sorry.
It does look like a squid though. Those things when they were traveling through, because it had the whale thing, and then
Sorry.
it had like little legs.
Yeah,
at
that's
the
what they
back,
are.
didn't it?
basically.
It's just
Yeah.
a squiddy thing. Isn't
They're a
it?
whale
Dan,
at one
can you-
end and
can you
squids
ban
at the squid
Jim
at the other end.
from the channel as well, please? Thank you. No, we welcome all views here. We really do. And
You know what?
if you're so
I-
fucking stupid to have
I
enjoyed it,
think
we
I-
welcome all views.
I was genuinely looking forward to this, even though I didn't know it was on. I thought it was the end of this month, but
Yeah.
I was genuinely looking. I thought, here we go, season 3. This is going to be good.
No,
And
look,
it was just a bit of a wet blanket, really.
well, look. Let's bring some positivity to the fold because a few in the chat say they enjoyed it, and look. I'll go back to what I said at the start. The Mando stuff is among the better of the Disney stuff. Now, you might say best of a bad fucking bunch, but it still is up there for me anyway. And there are moments, even in this episode, which had a lot of problems. There are moments I enjoyed, so I can see how people would.
It's very small though, isn't it?
saying Mando is the best of Disney Star Wars is like saying you found sweet corn on your shit. I mean, it's like
Oh.
it's not a high standard at all. It's just something there that might theoretically have a second use if you were really desperate. I'm fine with people who said they enjoyed it. I have no problem with
Sweet-
people saying they enjoy everything. I enjoy loads of shit media. But
Yeah,
you
you
do also
enjoyed
have to
Andor.
acknowledge. Yeah, well, see, you enjoyed Avatar, same thing. I am fine with that. But if you're going to say it was good, that's a different argument. I'm happy for you to enjoy The Mandalorian. But if you're going to turn around to me and say that this episode was good, I just have to say pay attention because it's really not.
Sweet corn never digests for some reason.
The thing is, they people that watch this and enjoy this, right? They just, I hate to say it, they're normies, right? And things like that go way over their heads. So they just basically,
Mega
you know what I
geek.
mean? So
Come
they
on,
just basically
don't.
enjoy what
That's
they
how
see. That's it.
neurotic
What?
he went
Sorry?
like that.
What's that? Sorry?
By saying that we're better than everybody else and all that stuff, not for me. You know,
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that people.
perhaps they haven't put 2 and 2 together. They
No,
will
it's
in their
not.
own
It's
time.
not that. It's that. It's if they enjoy it, right? They're going to tell somebody else, and then somebody else will watch it, and the normies don't see stuff that we see. That's
Well, I
the
still
thing.
consider myself a normie, but I just thought it was boring. But there you go.
Well, you're
That's just
way
me.
above
And
the normies. Then if
I'm
you did.
more of a normie than Well, I am a normie technically, but I just thought it was disappointing.
There is a positive read is that there's enough still in The Mandalorian that I can look at and think if they'd only done this could have been good. It's not irredeemable.
Yeah.
It's not like the Book of Boba Fett level bad. It's just that they are taking some very, very good material. The aesthetics are great. Some of the world aesthetics in particular are really well fleshed out and very deep. The design work is fantastic. The CG is fantastic. I still think Grogu is you could do so many interesting things with Grogu and the Mandalorian as a character as well. You could do interesting
Maybe
things
it's
with these
coming.
people. The problem is that nothing interesting is being done with them, and what they are doing with them is not very good. So that's the criticism.
Here you go, folks. Wingman of the channel.
you've-
That's Happy On. Wingman. Hello, Happy On. I hate the term normie.
Can we stick to
Yeah,
man
it's-
babies, the accepted?
No, I
I'm-
like the
I am a
term
man
normie.
baby, yes.
I like the term normie. Just because somebody doesn't like it and says that's fine with them, that's their opinion. But I like the term normie, and it explains totally what we're talking about. We see more deeper, they don't. So,
Most of it is as well, what questions are you asking of your media? So this is why I always try and force the distinction between enjoyment and quality, or enjoyment and saying
you go
it's
first,
good.
look.
So, for example, you can enjoy this episode of The Mandalorian. I'm fine for you to do that. Would you, though, say that an episode of season 1, or hell, let's make it as clear a distinction as possible, would you say that A New Hope is better than this episode of The Mandalorian, even as someone who enjoyed this episode? I'm assuming the answer is going to be yes. So the question then becomes, what made A New Hope better than this episode? And if you want to see better media overall, shouldn't you be asking these questions of the people creating media to encourage them to make better media overall? That's the difference between enjoying something which is shit and actually wanting something to be good and understanding what makes it good.
But a normie, right? They don't care. They come home from their 9 to 5. They grab their burger. They sit in front of the TV and they watch it. And they don't think deeply like we do. There's a huge separation between us and normies, right?
Oh.
So they just watch it and they think it's good and they like it, and then they tune in next week. That's the way they operate. It's not rocket science. It's just the way they are.
Can I direct all normies to the Star Wars Explained YouTube channel? That's where you need to be, folks.
Come on, man.
No, look, I'm going to bring a bit of lightheartedness to this. Quick gag for everyone. What do Mr. Brown and Grogu have in common?
I don't know.
Silver
There we
helmets?
go.
I don't know.
Whacking Wardrobe's got the answer. Brownie, would you read it out?
Moving on.
See, my answer was that they both have small green balls, but that's something else.
Bastard.
Oh, God. Thank you, Whacking. That was good tag team work.
I'm
that
hoping
Where
they
did they
do
get these
something
names
with
from?
this Baby Yoda thing, something better than they did in the last season. I hope they.
Oh, he's just there to use the Force when all hope is lost.
All right.
Yeah. I think this program is still doing some. I'm going to play devil's advocate here. It's still doing something right because I want to watch it.
I like the paintings at the ending.
Well, yeah, they are good.
Oh, yeah, the last 5 minutes are the best of the show.
No, I'm with Brown. I will still happily sit down and watch the rest of this show. It's not like the Book of Boba Fett where you look forward with
Yeah.
dread
I want to watch it.
to what happens next.
Do you
And in this
want
case,
to
it's
watch it?
yeah, I actually do want
Yeah,
to watch
I
it.
want to watch it as well. Yeah.
I'm not expecting to be rewarded for that. I'm expecting to be disappointed by it, but at least there's enough in it that you can see potentially they could do something useful with.
I'm actually wearing my Star Wars Grugo shirt now. I just realised.
You normie.
Oh. Brownie's going to get some normie merchandise made, aren't you, Brownie?
I'll just say to everybody in the chat who's seen it, are you enjoying this episode, or are you kind of like me? You were, a little bit disappointed. You want to watch good stuff, but we're just not getting it, are we? So.
Okay, he's dangled that one out there. Now, look, I forgot the politically correct term for a cockpit. Someone help me out. What is it? Because we're
Crotch
back in
pit.
one again.
Crotch pit.
Crotch, gender-neutral crotch area. Okay. So we're in the crotch area again.
It's good how they do that, isn't it? Like when you're looking at throughout the window and it's like he's flying towards that. That's obviously green screen or whatever they do these days. That's pretty. It's like actually there, really. It's quite a good effect.
Here you go, in the chats, J Desolate Soul Studios. People watch it because of the name and some of the characters, but the storylines are flat.
But the member berries are good. Look, you've got an R5 unit there.
Drink,
And
everybody.
over
Get
the
your
other
drinks
side-
ready because he's
Yeah, I
going
was
to
about to
take
say,
a walk down
remembering the rules of
Memberberry
that-
Avenue.
Remembering the rules of that drinking game, by the end of this scene, we are all going to be absolutely wankered because there's so much in this. I mean, you can see just on the right-hand side, isn't that the droid that's the torture droid from Return of the Jedi?
EV-99.
And then there is, and I'm sure some of these props are from something as well, but then you go forward a bit and it just goes on and on and on.
It was
There you
almost
go.
cringe,
It's
wasn't it? The amount
Salacious
of,
crumbs.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
the amount of
Salacious,
member
yeah.
berries. I just thought, oh no, really? Oh.
And they've also got the
Salacious
cook
crawl.
droid from
Good
last
God.
season, and
Yeah.
they threw in a Mon Calamari as well.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, God.
And
I'm
Boba
running out
Frick.
of rum.
Well, hey!
Yeah, Boba Frick. Yeah, it's a bit rubbish.
Here you go, Hannah Timbom Brown. Where's my lip smacking? It's because I'm not presenting. Moving on.
This is the difference again between this episode and any given episode of season 1, which is that in season 1 threw in a lot of Easter eggs, and I mean a lot of Easter eggs, but the Easter eggs by and large made sense within the context they were displayed in. So if you're going through a spaceport, by definition, loads of people travel through that of all different races and species. So if you see one you recognize, and just one, it kind of makes sense that they might be passing through a spaceport. This planet, though, seems to have become this is Memberberry Planet. So you have an entire community of whatever the hell Salacious Crumb's species is. And you've got an entire community of whatever the hell Babu Frick's species is. And they all live here permanently. It doesn't gel, I don't think, as nicely as the Easter eggs in season 1 did. For me, anyway.
I agree.
In the chats, Marco, hello Marco. If you think these guys suck, give this channel a thumb down.
Is Marco from Yorkshire?
He says give this Chanel a thumb down, so I think that means you have to go over to Coco Chanel's channel and give them a thumbs down instead.
We do suck, but we admit it. So anyway, moving on. Carry on.
Appian also doesn't find it amusing. There we go.
Sorry, Appian. Sorry.
Okay. Well, we've got the what is the species of Salacious Crumbs? Anyone know? I'm really testing the knowledge here.
They are. I do believe they are Kowakian monkey lizards. Although I feel a bit dodgy saying the word monkey these days. So.
There you go.
There goes the monetization.
What's his nerd level? It's over 9,000. That's impressive. I didn't know that.
Oh, so his ship doesn't have legs; it just lands like a gravity thing. It just hovers there. Oh, that explains that then.
Oh, we have to go to Z3 at this point, folks, because
look, it's a white protocol droid. I absolutely despise these. They have executive access to all ships and systems. It's almost as if they have some sort of special privilege reserved for whites.
Yeah, where's the black ones, for God's sake? That's a black territory.
There's a black one later on.
Oh,
it's the school teacher.
Is that black one? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, the white ones are my least favourite of the protocol droids.
Is that oil bath? Do they have oil baths? These droids. So the black ones must have the Soul Glow oil bath, I guess.
I'm not going to lie. This just looks like an unpainted kit, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it does.
Yeah.
This is what you get when you get those those magazines they advertise on TV. Build a protocol droid in 354 issues. First issue is only $2.99, and after that it's $15.99 for the next 4 years.
Here you go, folks. J Desolate Soul Studios. That is a privileged droid.
Droid.
It is.
It is.
I don't get the gag, but I'm sure there's one there. What's Appian's gag?
Black ones don't get cabs. Sorry,
Carbs is even better.
Cabs.
Oh, hang on, folks.
Oh, here we go. Joshua.
Oh,
sorry. Sorry.
Oh, look
Joshua
at that.
Levesque. Hello, Joshua. $2. Hail, Brown. Oh, this can help you with something.
Oh, it's very kind.
Oh, God bless you. Where was that man baby earlier? Marco
He does share his money with all of us, so
Yeah.
So there you go. Once we get
Brown, I'm even prepared to reduce my normal rate of 30% to
Okay, sorted.
20, so
Excellent.
okay.
Very good.
So yes, we did like seeing the protocol droid. Although another drink, folks, another member berry, and we've got a 3 years. We've got what have we got here? What's the chap on the right doing? Is he?
Don't know.
Playing the Pinko bow.
Looks like it. This is not the greatest costuming. I think was it you, Mega Geek, who said some of the costuming was a bit dodge.
Yeah, I think the costumes are terrible in this episode, but it's just me. It's like it's lacking of detail. It's like they're just throwing things together.
It's almost like they filmed this at Star Wars World.
We saw Fishface as well, didn't we? In this scene, the guy, it's a
Yeah.
trap. We saw him walking down the road as well. didn't we?
On calamari, yeah. It is a flute scene, so take another drink, folks. Like
I found something very,
said.
very positive to say as well, which is that at least George Lucas hasn't gone back and CGI'd in a weird singing fleshlight thing.
Yeah.
That's good. I prefer these to the Return of the Jedi edit. That's fine.
Matt's rather disappointed that there was a fat Twi'lek girl. Normally they're
Body
they're
positive
all-
Twi'lek, actually.
Here you go. Best Devor. I do like these names. That Mr. Brown has me. The droid is called.
Oi, you. Oh, you.
Or you, or
Very good. I won't say that, but very good.
Why would you make a model of that robot out of
I
its
wondered
parts?
this.
Yes, there's a
It
statue of
doesn't make
IG-11
any sense.
Why
for
did
no
Well-
the
reason.
robot?
Yeah, they had to wedge him in somehow. I did wonder. I thought, what have I missed?
Nothing.
What have I missed where he played such a heroic role that he deserved a monument?
Exactly.
I don't know how he's still standing, because even when you see it in the flashback, he's completely vaporized at the start.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is. Yeah. Also, another thing that bothered me is Apollo Creed's cape. What the hell's that all about with those little wheels at the back? Things.
All the little
Anybody notice
droids
that?
carrying his kid.
Oh,
Yeah, what's that all
didn't.
about?
I didn't mind that. I thought that was quite a nice sort of comedic touch, which does sort of make sense in the sense. Well, people in the real world, wedding dresses, for example, tend to have page boys carrying them at the back.
Yeah.
That I thought was quite a nice comedic touch. But the previous one with IG, whatever the number designation is, that's another example of how not to do world building, in the sense that we know as the audience, and Carl Weathers knows, and Mando knows what IG, whatever the hell, did
69.
in order to get them out. Nobody else in the community knows this. What is the public demand for this acclamation for this droid? I don't think there is any, but he has been elevated to a societal hero by people who never saw him, knew him, or have any idea what he did, which is only there because for some reason the show has decided that we need to go and find him again, because reasons that we'll come on to.
His reasons are because Taika Waititi did the voice for IG-11.
Oh.
Titty, yeah.
So he's after the work, obviously.
Is it just me, or does Grief Karg have a really small head compared to his
Humour.
body in this scene? Anyway, Z, we have another protocol droid in the background. Is that a? I can't see. Is that a golden one even?
It's a
It is.
gold protocol droid, my
Oh,
favourite kind. The only problem is they have the wrong head on it,
They do.
Oh,
They do. Yeah.
which,
So-
according to episode 2, we're interchangeable.
Brown, can you read out the droid's name? Appian has identified it.
Mr. Fuckboy.
There you go, Mr. Fuckboy. Yeah. And yes, obviously, Grief Karg has sexual relations with that droid.
Moving on.
Moving on.
I do like Carl Weathers, though. I think he's.
He's brilliant. Yes, he's great. I
He
do
is, but
enjoy
his
scene.
entire part in this episode is discount Lando
Exactly.
Calrissian.
Yeah,
He's created
well.
a new thriving mining community outside of official jurisdictions.
That's right.
And he's now the dashing leader of this community. And then the writing problem was that in this scene, I believe it is, when they're introducing each other to each other, and he asks Mando, he says, I need to get a marshal to keep order here. And then Mando says,
yes.
well, what happened to Marshal June? And his answer wasn't
Yeah.
she was cancelled for a tweet. It was, oh, no, she's just gone now. But Mando explicitly says in this scene, I can't stay because I have stuff to do. And then
Yes.
we have the same conversation in about 10 minutes' time when he says, hey, why don't you be my marshal? And Mando says, I can't stay. I've got stuff to do. We had that 10 minutes ago in your own episode.
But they did the same thing with the armourer when she says you removed your helmet
Yeah,
and
yeah.
you're expelled, because they did that in the flashback, and then she says it verbatim again in the
Because they're
scene
filling
where-
time. They're filling time. That's what it is. When I wrote the script, it's like, oh, this script has to equal 30 pages. Quick, write some. Just repeat that bit of dialogue. You know what I mean? That's what the impression I get anyway.
Quick question: does Grief Karg dye his hair or his beard? And question 2B: what colour are his pubes? Answer in the chat, please.
Above the ball, they're black. on the undercarriage. They're white.
That's the white representation right there.
Yeah.
Representation.
Oh,
He's
by the
also
way,
got,
someone asked earlier, they've not seen the episode yet, so they just wanted to check there's no spoilers, and I can confirm we are doing spoiler-free tonight, so
Yeah.
Are
we
we?
won't get any spoilers. Yes, no spoilers.
Yeah, that's time.
We're only showing every single scene.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Grief Cargo's also got another couple of tiny little robots holding up his bollocks.
They're that big. Mr. Brown, can I just? There's a comment by Velma Dinklage earlier on. I thought was quite humorous.
Velma Dinklage,
is it
where
this
do you
one?
find these people, Brown?
Is that one?
That's the one.
Channel favourites, Velma Dinklage in the chat. Dinja should set up a chicken-themed restaurant in his town. What could be? I'll start again. I'm struggling with this. What could be possibly call it? I wonder.
We're all pissed from Mando
Sorry,
walking down Memberberry Avenue.
What could we call
Mandos.
it?
What can we call?
Yeah, Mando's very good.
Mando's.
There's a
But,
thing. Listen, there is a thinking man's joke in there, but I completely fucked it up. Moving
What
on.
about KFC 3PO?
What a perfect name for a chicken restaurant.
Oh, there we
There's
go.
a rival one across town. Yeah.
Atom Gray can't get with the wig.
What wig?
What's the
It looks
wig?
like he's dyed it with boot polish. Yeah, pure black boot polish.
You got the inside track on the style tips for the show, Brown. Obviously.
Oh yes.
Scottish Celts, or is it Celts? I don't know. Is 16 pints in, doing well.
Nice.
Pretty tame for a Scot on a midweek night, though. To be
Is
fair,
that blue milk?
I hope so. So they have a bit of a convo here, don't they? And doesn't he offer him a nice plot of land?
Yeah, he
where you
does.
can retire and
It's a
Yeah,
pretty
has
good offer, isn't it?
has anyone ever played Skyrim?
Yeah.
Because this is a Skyrim
dirty.
sequence. He's done him a good, and now he's turned up because it's all a video game. So he turns up and says, "Well, you did good for me, so here's a plot of land for you to settle down. You can be a jarl, and it'll all be good." And then you have to go and slay the dragon, so you can't stay. It's all the video game. Everything about this is video game.
Brown, have you ever Skyrimmed anyone?
I've rimmed, not Skyrimmed.
Oh
I
yeah,
think
you.
Marco's got a point. We do suck. Moving on.
He uses the force to get a
Only when we're in the mood.
red thing, whether the red thing is. what is
Oh,
it?
yeah.
Oh, is he? Here we go. Red or blue pilled, folks.
That's the aforementioned sweet corn.
Oh, is that sweet corn? Is it?
Oh,
yeah. Never digests for some reason.
Yeah. Only
At least
eats
he's not-
non-trans M&Ms.
No, at least he's not eating unborn children in this episode. So that's progress for.
No, you can't help yourself, can you, Lord?
That's what he was doing in season whatever it was. I've forgotten now.
There's the oppressed droid.
Yes,
Yeah.
right.
It's Black 3PO, yeah.
Black droid lives matter. Don't quite ring, does it now? Sorry.
That's why they're picking on him. You see.
So this is something I don't think we've mentioned so far. My biggest problem, particularly with this episode, and possibly extended out to the other Mandalorian seasons, there is no main villain. There is no, and all we had in this episode was really these pirate type characters, and we're going to get onto the worst of those in a moment. But
Yeah, Davy Jones comes in later.
yeah,
I have a
but-
nasty feeling we'll see him again.
I actually
Kennedy, isn't it?
I like this scene.
Oh.
The bit with the
What?
drawing of the guns. Yeah, I thought it was quite fun. The bit, where he's like, with the, like a western. I thought it was quite a lot of fun. Personally,
I thought it
Pirate-
could have been fun, but they didn't understand that what they were doing was fun.
I don't know.
If you've got an exchange, which they have, and it's a protracted exchange, and they go back and forth where they're trying to break in, and Carver says, "No, it's a school," and they say, "Well, it used to be a pub, so we're drinking here." It's like, "No, you're not drinking in my school." That should, I think, be played for laughs. That shouldn't be very serious Western style exchange, which is how they actually played it. So yeah, I liked again the idea behind it. I just don't think they delivered it with the tone that the scene really demanded, because they tried to make it seem like it was a really serious, proper Clint Eastwood versus the gangsters confrontation. But the premise is they're trying to have a beer in a school. That's quite funny, but they didn't seem to recognize that.
Yeah, but
It's
that's
funny,
the
it's
Disney
funny.
way, isn't
It's,
it? Having beers in school.
I did like this scene, but what I didn't understand is why they let him go. And the stupid excuse he says, "Oh, yeah, he wants to go and tell everybody they shouldn't mess with this town." Is like, no, you're
the
setting
one
it
thing
up
you
for something
don't
else,
want
aren't
to
you?
do.
Yeah, exactly. So stupid.
We're letting him go so he can go and tell his
Exactly.
pirate kingpin
Yeah.
boss that this place won't obey him anymore. Great idea.
You knew they were setting it up for something. That's why they let him go. See, this
yes.
is how bad the screenplay is. It's really bad. Anyway,
This guy here that Grief's talking to, it just looks bizarre. He's like he looks like a gruff alien bounty hunter type pirate, but he speaks in like this perfectly elocuted voice, like a human English voice. It just looks so wrong. And when you mismatch the voice with a character like that, you can't help but see that it's just all prosthetics. And he's like a Planet of the Apes guy underneath the ape mask. It just doesn't work. And he hasn't got any contacts in either.
Yeah, it looks like some one out of Babylon 5.
Yeah, it
And they
felt
probably did it
odd.
better,
It just
yeah.
felt odd. This, yeah.
well, what you call it? Carl Weathers very fast. Bang!
Yeah, absolutely. They're roaring, aren't they?
Yeah, it's hilarious. I actually enjoyed that scene. I thought it was very Western kind of thing. Quite fun. But as I said, why they let him go, I don't know.
And what was the whole argument over? They wanted to get a drink, but it's now
From
a
the
school,
school,
and it was
yeah.
a bit of a
Yeah,
extrapolated
Stupid.
reason. But
stupid reason. It was only excuse so they can have a little pew pew, isn't it?
yeah,
It was,
Western type pew pew.
Yeah, this
Cue
one-
the flutes, take a drink.
This one was a flesh wound, wasn't it? And then he just all hell broke loose.
Isn't that guy there with the red scarf on? Wasn't he on the ship in Return of the Jedi?
Yeah, it looks like Barada.
Yeah.
I want to ask as well to people who are much more informed on Star Wars lore than me: is that a Bosk type creature in the background?
Oh,
the
it is.
Trans-Ocean.
Yes.
Trans-Ocean, is it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah, we see him in the cockpit of one of those ships later on, and he speaks just like Bosk as well. Why they couldn't get the other guy to speak in a decent voice, I don't know, but
Well, we have to understand him apparently. So there you go.
Tim, I like saying this, Hannah-Bomb. This whole episode is a flesh wound.
Oh, it's just a flesh wound.
No, we call them crotch pits now.
Yes. So we have a bit of a shoot 'em up, don't we? And
Yeah.
I got to appreciate that this kind of tense Western moment. I'm glad they're still going for that aesthetic, that mood. I think that really worked in this episode, and we need that in Star Wars.
There should have been Solo and Coruscant show. I was thinking to myself, if it was that show, I always imagine Han Solo, drawn with some bad guys and stuff like that. But we got it in this, so anyway.
Stream killer.
Boom.
good job, Mando's there to back him up.
Yeah.
Mando's got a bit of a retro-looking
Gun.
weapon, doesn't he? Yeah.
Yes.
Sorry, I've drifted off to RedTube again.
I think
Anyway,
we've all drifted off.
But Mando shot all four of them, didn't he? He was very fast. Did he not shoot all four of them, or was it Carl Weathers that shot?
I
all
think
four
he
of
shot
them?
a couple of them.
Right.
So Mando shot the one who was about to draw suspiciously, and then Carl Weathers sort of helped out. This scene will pay off later, though, in the sense that when Mando is ambushed, and he tries to say, "Well, I've got no quarrel with you." They already know, all of the pirates, including the Pirate King, know that Mando shot these guys. Now, if you're the pirates and you've relayed all of the information that happened, and you've got two pieces of information, there is a bounty hunter who took part in killing some pirates. But he only had to take part in killing the pirates because the entire town only has him fortuitously there as his police. Would you wait in hiding for the bounty hunter, or would you go back to the planet and take that instead? That seems to me like the better decision that the pirates would have made.
Well, I mean, the only reason why I did it is push the story forward and have a bit more pew pew in it. As I said, it's just a
I do
really
like
bad
pew pew.
screenplay, isn't it? It's just a really bad screenplay. That's what. It's just nonsense.
Is this
Now this
where...
is the
Sorry,
go on, Brown.
sorry, I went into
Wedge yourself
presenter.
in,
Sorry,
man.
you're presenting. Sorry.
No, go on. I'm interested in what.
No, I was going to
Bollocks
say,
have to
is this where for some reason he wants IG-69 back?
Yeah.
Why?
This is very bizarre. Yeah,
Why?
he absolutely insists that he needs to have IG-88 or whatever he's called. Can't be anyone else, even though there's thousands of other droids available.
What?
He absolutely must have this droid, which has been rusting away on a monument. Very bizarre, but I don't know. Can anyone else make any of the logic out of this?
There isn't really. The logic as presented by the show is he wants a droid to go with him to Mandalore for reasons. We don't know why. He wants a droid he can trust, which is why he wants this droid specifically, even though this droid is dead, and he's told that repeatedly, and its memory core's buggered, and he could go with any other droid which you could program to make, to be trustworthy, but no, he has to have this one particularly for reasons as yet unclear. That's it. And then it's a side quest, again, like a video game. You go, you try the side quest leads you to a side quest, the thing carries on. It doesn't really advance the story in any way. I'm assuming at some point down the line, they will try and retcon in some kind of use for IG-69, but the episode doesn't give us one. He's just here because really, that's it.
Yeah, Brian's come up with a tenuous attempt to defend it, Bounty Hunter Union. I mean, okay, even if we give him a pass and say, okay, he wants this particular IG unit thing, but the moment it goes fucking apeshit, is that not the point where you go, okay, maybe bad decision, I'll think about getting another droid? Because when they do switch it on in a moment, it absolutely goes berserk, tries to kill Grogu, but he still insists on using this goddamn thing. I mean, it's
well, the thing is, it got to the point where they can fix him with a new circuit. Why don't they just get a new robot?
Yeah, that's what Carl Weathers said to him.
Is it?
You
Or is it
got,
just
you
me?
got new ones.
So it is bounty hunter loyalty.
But the thing is that he says to Bubba Frick, whether it is that he's my friend. I don't remember them being friends.
no.
Well, I mean, there is the payoff in season 1 where he does. They do strike up as close a friendship as you can get with an automaton. So I think that's what they were trying to call back to. It just doesn't make a huge amount of sense, not least because the very thing that he insisted that he needed from this droid, you can make the argument from bounty hunter fidelity and loyalty if you want to, but then that's the thing that almost gets Grogu killed in this scene because the droid just reverts to its previous programming. And if you've been explicitly told already that its memory core is buggered, then what were you expecting to happen?
Yeah.
Yeah, season 1, he specifically said he hates droids because
Yes.
they attacked his village and murdered his parents.
That's what I'm saying. There's no plan to this. Nobody. It's like they just hired writers in and said, "Right, do your best you can," and they haven't seen the first season, and you got to do this, and this, and it's just ridiculous. The screenplay's ridiculous.
Here you go, folks. J Desolate Souls Studios asking the tough questions again. Is this series still under Kathleen Kennedy's control? Ruin, you should know. Is it?
Well, you'll be pleased to know, thankfully it is, and that's why it's going so swimmingly well.
Well, let's ask Doomcock, shall we? He seems to know what's going on there, apparently.
Can anyone do a good Scottish accent and read out Brian's comments?
No.
No.
Well, we'll settle for Yorkshire. Go on then, Brown.
Not Brian in the chat. He shot the fucker in the pilot episode.
He did, didn't he?
Yeah, just put a hole through his head, didn't he?
Just saying. It's
Yeah,
just.
but the best friends, really.
Yeah, exactly.
So this is where it goes absolutely berserk, crawling around on the floor trying to get to Baby Yoda.
And then for some reason,
Terminator
even
2.
though it's crawling really slowly around on the floor, he misses with most of his shots.
Yeah.
Even though we saw him in the previous scene nailing the pirates. In this one, he's just, oh no, I can't hit this really slow-moving giant robot crawling around on the floor.
No, he does hit it a couple of times, but it doesn't do any good. And also, isn't droids meant to? They're not meant to. They're meant to be placid, aren't they? So that other droid pushes the head thing and crushes it.
Oh,
Are
he
droids
does.
allowed to do that?
Yeah, Grief Karga's had a brass statue of his head done. hasn't
Yeah.
he?
And then there's the James Bond line. He
Yeah,
used his
yeah,
head.
yeah.
Now that's
Ooh.
using his head.
Yeah.
Fucking puns now.
Wah, 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 wah.
I would be more forgiving of this if they'd set up in advance a reason, even as bland and broad as he needs a droid to go to Mandalore. But the episode doesn't do that. Why does he need any droid to go to Mandalore with? And then why does it have to be this droid? Is the secondary question, which it doesn't answer either because it never asked the first question.
And where's it going to sit in the ship? Because
That is a
only
great
one
point.
How is he
Someone
even
mentioned
getting
it
it
in the
there?
chat.
Yeah, someone in the
Yes.
chat. Yeah.
Brownie, quick question. Describe the most unluckiest man in the world. And this answer on
Scottish Celts. I'm Scottish, and I live in Wakefield. So
screen. There we
beware.
go. So if you think you're having a bad day, spare a
Wakefield,
thought of a
Wakey.
Scottish Celt.
I mean, why didn't he
Wakey.
ask one of his other friends he trusts, like Cobb Vanth?
Or Miss Catan, who he will go and ask later for no apparent reason either. And why wouldn't you go there first?
Joshua Levesque says, where do you guys rate this on a scale from The Last Jedi to The Empire Strikes Back? Last Jedi being the best, of course, and Empire Strikes Back being the worst.
I rated Rise of Skywalker.
Oh. I'm going to put it in the Attack of the Clones territory, so make of that what you will.
No, like some of the writing in Attack of the Clones broadly makes sense. Like that's the problem. The problem with that episode, the problem with episode 2 is not that it doesn't make sense. It's that the acting is terrible and the dialogue's awful and it drags. But at least it makes sense. I'm with Z in terms of the plot just not connecting with itself. This is much more Rise of Skywalker.
Time Prophet says, The Empire Strikes Back was good.
Well done.
Comments of the
that
night
tickled
from
me.
Time Prophet. Well done, mate.
Time Prophet. Good God, man.
It's a good job Grief Karga caught Grogu. That would have been embarrassing.
Yeah, he really...
Yeah.
In
Yeah.
fact, can we just
He really
leave that
tossed them
comment
off, didn't
on
he?
for the rest of the stream?
I love this
There you
slide
go, we'll
here.
leave this on for the rest
It
of
just
it.
looks like
Yeah.
Carl Weathers has gone shopping at Galaxy's Edge.
Yeah.
Oh,
But they also can't decide what they're doing with Grogu. So this is
No.
one example. We've already
Speed up.
seen Grogu take out giant monster mechs in the Book of Boba Fett and giant monsters generally in season 1 of The Mandalorian. But when it's convenient for the writers, he's powerless and must be defended. And then the same thing happens later. Grogu is a child, and that's what allows that you have to forgive him his trying to grab the Babu Frick things because he's only a kid. But then Mando starts explaining cockpit mechanics to him as though he's Anakin at the age of 9 or 10. Which of these? What is Grogu at this point? Is Grogu a baby or is Grogu like a child in
50
advanced
years old.
stages of development?
yeah.
How much does he know? How much in control of his powers is he? Why is he only able to control his powers when
he-
it's convenient for the writers that he
Yes,
does
I'm
that?
saying. Luke Skywalker taught him, was teaching him, wasn't he? So he's bound to be better at Jedi stuff now, right?
Well, that was,
Right,
that was
except
the
the
great
whole
thing about
season
that
when he was
episode.
teaching him. Yeah.
Luke gives him that profound choice. You can stay here with me and learn the ways of the Jedi,
Yeah.
but you will never see your surrogate father again. Or you can abandon the ways of the Jedi and all that entails and go back to your surrogate father. What? But so, okay, that's an incredibly advanced moral decision you're asking this child to make. It's fine if the child is actually quite advanced and is 50 years old, but if you then present him as being a baby who's liable to go and eat the eggs which contain the babies of other people because he's a kid, what are you doing?
Velma's beat me to it because I was wondering, is this a
Velma
sex scene
Dickley's
that
in the
somehow made
chat.
its way in? But
Yeah, I was going to say actually, Z, does this
Talk us through.
Still bring back any unpleasant memories
it's the expression on the
with
statue.
unclothing?
Not at all, sir, because I'm usually the bottom.
Oh dear, good God, what is going
On
on?
into next week.
Oh God.
Is that what happens when a droid's
go.
getting his on? Does his
Go.
eyes turn green?
They turn red just at that moment.
Mine fall out.
I thought they weren't allowed to commit violence. Droids.
Good advert
this-
for new
this guy
cyber
did.
loons.
So-
Did the statue give consent? That's what I need to know.
moving on.
I mean,
Um,
that was
There's the next part in the sex
Oh.
scene.
If he wasn't fucked
Wow.
before, he certainly is now. Look at that Glasgow kiss.
I mean, how fucking heavy is this statue? It's
Heavy,
Yeah, it's
very
different
heavy.
gravity on that planet though. So
Well, why is the statue better armored than the actual war droid? Well, that's another one.
moving on.
brilliant.
Come on, we need to speed these slides up or we'll be all night. Like,
Oh, well, I'm loving it. So okay, so we have the. Was that the droid? The droid killed off IG-88.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did.
Wow.
He pushed the.
why is the head different?
Don't know. 'Cause they didn't want him to look like C-3PO, I guess.
Yeah.
It gives better head.
Wah, 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 wah.
So this is where we get back onto Memberberry Avenue, isn't it? And we're
Yes.
about to we're about to meet the Babu Frick gang. So this is the old the fetch quest, isn't it? Doesn't he need? He needs some kind of special parts to.
How did he get in
It's
there?
the fucking door, yeah. There's fucking door.
How the hell
gets me.
did Mandalorian get in there?
The
How?
Yeah.
Good point. That is a good point.
What the fuck's
What a load
going
of
on?
rubbish. I don't know.
Oh dear. Yeah, so they've got this little underground. It reminds me of like I don't know if I was old enough to remember Danger Mouse. You know where he lived under the
Yeah.
curb. It's
Yeah.
had vibes of that going on, but yeah, they
Danger
almost felt like they were going for a
Mouse.
bit of comedy here, where they had Grief
Yeah.
Karga on the outside
Yeah, it
who
was
couldn't
great.
quite get in, and Mando's.
How did Mando get in?
It was outside, wasn't it?
I think there was a slightly bigger door further
there?
up the street.
Oh.
I
Well,
think
like a
you could see
back
that in the
door or
shot.
something.
But no, I'm with you. They were going for the comedic aspect. But the problem is that I don't like to praise The Rise of Skywalker, but Babu Frick was funnier than these Babu Fricks. So they didn't do the comedy as well as Rise of Skywalker did.
Brown, how do you get into a hole that's too small?
Very carefully. Very carefully. That's how.
And
Take
here's
him
another
as a
sex scene.
Take
Very
him
good
as a
term this
pet,
time.
apparently.
They just remind
He's
me of
50
the
years. He's 50 years
Doozers
old,
from
but he's still
Fraggle
too
Rock.
young for that kind of thing.
Oh no.
Yeah, but it's Disney.
I don't understand how Mando had a problem understanding what they're saying. It was only a variant of galactic basic.
Yeah.
They were literally talking English. So, don't get that
No,
bit.
well, Mando didn't have a problem, did he? He understood what they were saying. The gag was Carl Weathers repeating everything they said, wasn't it?
Yeah,
That
it
was
was
a really
quite-
bad
yeah.
gag.
But he only
as well.
had to
It
do
was
that
good, yeah,
because the premise was Mando, who speaks Jawa and Tuscan, and I think Huttese and Galactic Basic didn't understand the slightly broken English of Babu Frick.
No, he did understand it because it was obvious he understood it. I think the gag was, what's his name? Apollo Creed repeating it, wasn't it?
Yeah, but I thought he was repeating it because Mando didn't understand it. I thought.
No,
I thought
because
it's-
Mando stopped. It's obvious that Mando understood.
Oh, okay.
If you look at that scene again, he literally understood it, and the gag was that Apollo Creed kept repeating it.
God,
as
you saying
though
I have
that
to
he didn't
rewatch the
understand it.
episode. Oh.
Yeah, it's
no.
weird. It's weird.
Go back and rewatch it.
It's a bit weird.
Several times.
Yeah. The music was really awful on the this bit here, where the asteroid thing, wasn't it? It was kind of didn't match the scene for some reason. I found.
Very lots of Empire Strikes Back asteroid feel going on here.
Yeah.
Yeah, but without the soundtrack, as Ian says.
Just the music.
I liked some of the visuals for this scene. Is this though? I will have to rewatch it just to make sure that this actually happened. Did the pirate actually say "avast" in this scene?
He did.
Because I'm sure he did.
Yeah, he
It's
did.
like,
Oh,
"Avast
good
ye."
lord.
No,
That's terrible.
and because they can't quite trust the audience to have picked up on who the pirates are and who they work for from the previous 5 mentions of it, the entire exchange is Pirate King so-and-so says this. Well, you can tell Pirate King so-and-so who you work for, what you're doing. But the Pirate King so-and-so I work for won't accept that as an answer. Well, you can tell Pirate King so-and-so who you work for. And it just goes on. It's very heavy-handed exposition in this scene.
Well, you've got to spoon feed your audience when
Marco
they're Disney
loved it.
fans. That's the thing.
He
Also,
does.
if you're
This,
going to have them
this
say
guy-
avast, you might as well play up the piratiness. Like, have them go "arr" as well for all you. Why not?
That's why he stubs his toe later.
I mean, this scene wasn't too bad. I actually quite enjoyed this scene, but
The
as
action
I said,
stuff was
it's-
good, yeah.
it's kind of
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, I
it
quite
needed
enjoyed this.
needed better music, and yeah, there was. I mean, you get a lot of that, people explaining the plot or whatever, and even in the big films, you get that. You know, even Oscar-winning films, you get that, right? But this was going over the top with it, wasn't it? Let's face it. So.
Decent space battle, though. Can we give it a little bit of credit for
Yeah,
a decent?
definitely.
Yeah,
rather
it's
decent
okay.
I
space
was,
battle?
Yeah.
I was thinking as I was watching it, I was trying to like cast my mind back to the other Disney Star Wars TV stuff, and I was trying to remember if we'd actually had any meaningful space battle in them,
Yeah.
and none of them come to mind. So this, we had a few Slave One shots in Boba Fett and in Mando season 2, I
Yeah.
think, but nothing quite like this, like Empire Strikes Back style space asteroid chase. So I like what they've got. Yeah, I like the aesthetic of this was good.
I was expecting the big sock monster to come out of a asteroid, but it never happened, did it?
Oh God, that's strange.
Is
No
he a
nose,
species, an established
teeth.
species in Star Wars, or is this a new invention for this show?
I think it's a new one. I've never seen them before, unless they're in the cartoon.
Not ringing a bell.
Nice steampunky jacket he's got on.
Here
I
you
have
go,
to say.
Po. I can't pronounce that. Sorry.
Kahada.
Kahada. The pirate has no nose. How does he smell?
Bad.
Terrible.
Yeah.
Boom,
See that joke coming a mile away.
Yes, very good.
Andy Mouse thinks it's an as the shit costume.
Yeah.
I can understand why they're doing aliens in the series because it gives it a more Star Wars feel. But there are many established different aliens within the Star Wars universe, but they seem to keep creating new ones.
Well, that's a big
Yeah.
universe, I guess.
Here you go, not Brian established.
Oh, so it is.
I'll just say, not Brian Young produced the slides for this show today. So thank you, Brian.
Credits to Brian.
One
Yeah.
for the
Cheers,
team
Brian.
there, friends. Cheers, Brian. Thank you.
Thanks for
very much.
capturing all the sex scenes, Brian.
Yeah.
Do appreciate it.
At least,
look at
at least this battle wasn't so fast. Like in some Star Wars films, the ships go so fast you don't know what's going on. But this was kind of measured. Really, it was quite nice. It was quite measured. So I enjoyed this part of.
I did like how the hunters became the hunted. I thought that was quite good.
Yeah.
I was quite enjoying the spacecraft porn through the scene as well towards the end.
Let's test out the knowledge in the group here. Apparently, one of the species was on the sand skiff on Return of the Jedi. Was that the?
We established that already.
Yeah,
the-
we
that
covered
funny-
that
it's
one.
either
Thing.
Barad
Keep up,
or a
Stuart, for
Nicto.
God's sake.
Barada or Nicto, I can't remember which one.
That's it, Barada. Yeah, we did.
Pew 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 pew.
No, this is a decent scene. I do recall. Yeah, I enjoyed this few minutes. It was a
Yeah.
good little battle. And then it lets itself down when we
It
get
does.
onto the pirate ship, doesn't it? I mean,
Yeah.
brace yourselves, man.
Davy Jones.
I had another expanded universe question. Is this ship design like a smaller version of the Super Star Destroyer Eclipse? Is that the one with the Death Star beam on it from the old EU?
Don't know.
Don't know.
So I remember it having the same
Don't
shape and
know.
the sort of the inverted hammerhead thing at the front. It looks kind of eclipsey to me.
Oh, yes. Correct. The Corvette hammerhead thing, yes.
No. That's the Hammerhead Corvette. I'm thinking, which they actually nicked from Knights of the Old Republic. I'm sure in the expanded universe there's a book series. It's also represented. You can find the model for it in Empire at War as well. The Super Star Destroyer Eclipse, which is like Vader's Super Star Destroyer, the Executor, but it has this front shape and it has a Death Star beam on it, and it looks quite similar to that. But I was hoping like Z or Swapshop might be familiar, or I might have just invented it. I'm not sure.
No, I don't recognise it. It probably does exist. I thought it looked a bit like a Blitz
like this.
spear from a 2000 AD strip. Called
They
Resist
they
the
actually
World.
copied a shot from Empire with the Mandalorian ship where it dodges an asteroid, which is exactly the way they did Millennium Falcon dodging it.
Yeah.
So that's quite nice.
And here he is, folks.
Davy
We have to
Jones
pause
himself.
at this
Seaweed
point
man.
because, yes, this frankly got a little bit ridiculous. Yep,
like a
I
Muppet.
mean, best test devil is all over it. Is it space
dear.
version of Pirates of the Caribbean? It was frankly ridiculous, wasn't it? I mean, did they really have to go so on the fucking nose with this character? I mean, he had the
Oh,
weird
no.
shuffle. He's got the moss all over him. I mean, can anyone defend this character? Is there anything positive?
There you
you
go,
can say?
Joshua, Captain Seaweed Beard.
Yeah, I think Scottish Celt sums it up. What the fuck?
What's
Yeah,
that? Also, what's the
strange.
point of having a huge ship if you can't follow a
A
tiny
huge
ship?
shit.
Yeah, huge shit. A huge ship if you can't. He just zapped away, didn't he? He was like,
Yeah.
it was ridiculous. All those guns pointing at him, and he just went hyperspeed, and that was that.
Yeah, after a great dogfight, it was a rather
Yeah.
pathetic end, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a bit.
Did we get
shit
that
like that.
captain's name, or is he just like
It's the
Captain-
seaweed, Captain
Yeah,
Seaweed.
he is. He looks like some kind of baddie off He-Man or something from the 80s.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, it does a bit.
Yeah, his name was
Captain
Gorian
Snotstring.
Shard.
What's
He
his
looks
name?
a little bit green around the gills.
Gorian Shard. His commander is Red Toast.
He reminds
Kale
me.
monster.
He reminds me of Pizza the
Oh,
Hut in Spaceballs.
Yeah, it reminds me of crispy seaweed in my last Chinese takeaway.
Yeah. Are we? Is this? Are they setting this guy up? Are we going to see more of him?
Probably going to see more.
Here you
Oh,
go,
God.
folks. Johnny Lawrence's mum, creature of the blackness of Kathleen Kennedy's swinging brick.
There's got to be some
Yeah.
CGI in that though. It's quite
Barbara,
clever.
how is Johnny today? Moving on.
So as you say, just he zaps away rather easily, and then we go to a Mandalorian castle. I believe it's
I don't see the point of
described
this.
as.
This scene
Again,
at all.
problems.
Island,
because he's explaining to Grogu all the way as though Grogu could understand. This is what the cockpit does. This is the threat detector. Fight scene. Then we arrive on the planet, and because Grogu is now just an exposition foil, he says, "This is this planet. This is in the Mandalore system. This is a Mandalorian castle." Now, I faintly remember that the show itself teased that the Empire had invaded the Mandalorian system to wipe out the Mandalorians. Why did they miss this castle? And why is he here, given that he's gone now to meet, oh God, what's her name? Bo-Katan, is it?
Selector.
Starbuck.
Bo Selector. He's gone to meet Bo Selector
Proper
to
Boa
ask her about Mandalore, and her answer is to Rose Tico it and say, no, I'm not coming. So, but why wouldn't you have gone to her first? If you knew she was here, she's in the Mandalore system, she knows more about Mandalore than you do, why haven't you come here first, rather than go on this side quest with the IG-69 droid?
It's because the script is rubbish. That long walk all the way to
Oh,
to
God.
Kate Sapphoff, whatever her name is, it's
Looks good,
ridiculous.
though. Looks good.
Oh,
Why would you?
This is legs akimbo Katan, isn't it?
Yeah, I know.
Mexican
It's
Bo-Katan, I
ridiculous.
like it.
Yeah, Starbuck.
And what? Is she sitting on a throne? This is ridiculous.
can sit
absolutely.
in
Well,
my
Joshua's
throne.
asked the question that we're all wondering: what the fuck is Bo-Katan just sitting there doing
exactly,
nothing? How
doing
long
Now,
has she
nothing.
been
according
sat
to
there
Jon
for?
Favreau, she's been sitting there doing nothing for many years.
She's airing out her crotch pit.
She doesn't even have a TV or anything. You know,
Oh.
music, nothing. Just bland.
There she is, legs akimbo. Brownie, it's the question everyone's been hanging on for. They're all going to log off after this one. Bo-Katan, what would you give her?
Okay. Out of 10,
Of course, always.
I'd give a 1.
You give her 1, okay.
Yes.
That's what the people need to know. They can now sleep tonight, Brownie, knowing
They
that
can
you would
indeed.
give her,
They
you
can
give her
indeed.
1. Yeah, so what's the conversation at this point? I needed to go get some
blah,
toast.
blah, blah. It's
so-
all gone. It's dead. Blah, blah, blah. Fuck off.
Can you
What
help
happened
me?
to the Mandalorian kingdom you
That's
were
it,
building?
yeah.
Well, you took the Darksaber,
That's
so
right.
they all fucked off.
Have you
If
still
you'd
got it?
taken the-
Yes.
Where are they? They're flying around somewhere. Have you got it? Yes.
Yes.
If you wave it to them, they'll follow you. So
Yeah,
we know
exactly.
already where the series is probably
Yeah.
going to go. He's going to go at some point and have to go on a side quest to find the Mandalorians to wave the Darksaber around, prove himself against probably the big guy with the Gatling gun who he's hated since season 1, and then he will take them all back and they'll do something on Mandalore to reclaim the planet for themselves.
Sorry, Lord. In the chat,
In the chat.
I I,
Oh,
It's
God.
IAO pigeon. I'm going through pain saying this, my friend.
He
Sorry.
shouts it as well.
IAO pigeon.
Ohio pigeon.
Ohio pigeon.
Very difficult to say.
It's a
And he's
pigeon in the
shouting,
state of Ohio.
I'd still smash, but with hate.
You'd Hulk smash
Oh, I
it.
don't know if that's the message you want to promote to the kids.
That chair looks really
That'd be
uncomfortable, doesn't it?
fantastic.
Best
Yeah.
Tess has had enough.
Katie Sackhoff is great, I will just say.
Yeah.
She's fantastic.
Yeah. M in Mandalorian.
and she
is,
still looks
is
great.
the same M in MILF.
It's a very true comment. Right
Jay's
there.
written an essay.
J Desolate Soul Studios in the chat. These effing writers have so many novels and comics to read from and use, but instead their egos, well, it's KK, she denied it exists, won't justify them using established stories.
Yeah.
And you feel like they could do so
They-
much better.
They retconned the entire lot, and all you would needed to have done would be to adapt the stories that already existed. And the first thing Disney did when it took control of the property was to say, no, none of these things actually exist in the timeline anymore. They're all just legends. So I assume we don't have to pay the writers if we start subsequently stealing the worst bits of their product and mashing them together to make something which isn't as good as what they created. Sheer fucking hubris, I think the line is.
Oh dear.
So the episode actually wraps, doesn't it, with Mando walking away?
Just walks
and,
off, yeah.
Can
Yeah,
you
I was
help me?
kind of
No.
caught me
Bye.
by surprise. I was waiting for something else, but then we get into the beautiful kind of is it the post credits artwork?
Yeah, these are
Artwork.
the best. This is genuinely the best part of the show.
I wonder if it's done by a human or AI.
Fast forward to the credits, folks. There's the tip of the day.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah,
That creature looks better there. It looks like less of a gator and more like a turtle, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, much
I
better.
still feel sorry for it.
Yeah. So while we are scrolling through this beautiful artwork, how about we do a bit of a roundup and we get closing thoughts, and I think we should get a rating from everyone. So
Shall we just quickly say to the chat, boys and girls in the chat, if you've seen the episode, throw a mark out of 10 for those who have seen it, please. Sorry, Win.
no, that's okay. You were right to prompt them. So we'll see what we average at the end of all this. So Z3, let's start with you, my friend. What would you rate this episode and your closing thoughts?
I'd give it a 5 out of 10. It
Okay.
looks and feels like Star Wars, but the plot is nonsensical. And as some people are pointing out in the chat, it could have been written by an AI.
Here you go, Tim.
Possibly was.
Here you go, Tim. 4. Jim, 8. Zachary, chat's moving up. 4.
Yeah.
Andy, 1.
Oh, okay.
Rick, 3. Velma Dinklage in the chat, 4.5.
Oh, we're all over the place, but it's generally scoring quite low. Brian.
Here you go. Josh, 4. 6.
All right. Keep them coming in, Brownie. I'll go to
okay. I'll
go
just
to
keep flashing them up.
Swappers. Keep flashing them up. Keep flashing, sir. Swappers, your rating, sir, and your closing thoughts.
Oh, it's tough to give it more than a 5.5, maybe a 6. Really, to be honest with you, that's mostly for the effects and the fact that it's not that woke. The writing's a bit lacking. It's only the first episode, but still, you kind of want to open a season with a bit of a punch, don't you? We don't really get that. It's a bit like we've already said, a bit nonsensical. They haven't really thought it through. It sounds like they're making it up as they go along, and an AI probably could have done better. So yeah, I've got to say about 5.5.
Okay, Lord Chord, I'm guessing you didn't
look at
rate
that.
this by your comments this evening. What was your thoughts?
I think just going by the standards that the rest of the Mandalorian itself has set as a series, this is probably at most a 3. I mean, it was so much better in season 1, and even in season 2, it falls below the Mando episodes of Book of Boba Fett as well. And I think I only gave those a 4 or a 5. So, and if I'm being charitable, probably a 3. And also, as Swapshop says, this is supposed to be the debut of season 3. Like, this is
Yeah.
supposed to be the big bang with which you begin that sets up everything that follows. And if everything that follows is just side quests that you would get bored of if you were playing a video game, that's not a good sign for a show. So, yeah, being optimistic, 3, I think.
Wow. Okay. Rather damning.
Bestest
Mega
ever,
Geek.
7.
I'd give it a 3.
Mm.
Because it's not very good. Script is terrible. The only reason why it gets a 3, as somebody said, I can't remember who said it, is because the visual effects were good, and I like the shootout and the pew pew space thing. But apart from that, it's pretty poor. To tell you the truth, it really is. It's very poor. I mean, I don't understand how they cannot understand that story is paramount, is king when it comes to making TV shows. But they obviously don't know that. So. There you go.
There you go. Genitalia, 6.
Some of these visuals and the animation,
Yeah, look at
the
that.
animation is much better than what we actually ended up with on screen. So
Yeah.
And Brownie, just to round us off, sir, what's your rating?
Out of 10.
Yeah.
No, your special Brownie. Give us your rating out of 100.
I wouldn't give it 1 out of 10. I think I was genuinely looking forward to this, even though I didn't know it was on. I thought it was on the end of the month. Just so average at best. Episode 1. I just hope it gets better.
Give me
I'll
a
probably
number,
give-
Brownie, and I know this number is going to match the number of sexual partners you've had in your life. So,
Well, it's 0 then.
oh, there we go, folks.
I'd 4.
It's 4. Okay, he's
And
added 2. Okay.
listen, guys. I want to give it higher marks. I want to love it. I want to watch it. But 4 out of 10. Sorry,
Yeah,
folks.
4 seems to be the popular score, both in the chat as well. I mean,
So you
I'm
got
going to go
Norfolk,
for almost a slightly generous 5. But again, there was moments I enjoyed. The visual effects were good at times, but the writing, as always, lets the fucking thing down. And yes, so I think all in all, I saw the odd rogue kind of 7 out of 10, but generally most people are scoring it quite low.
But I think it's evidence
harsh.
of how much worse this episode was than seasons 1 and 2 that so many of us are saying we wanted to like it more. If we'd hated seasons 1 and 2, none of this would be a surprise. We wouldn't be itching to give it a higher mark than we possibly could.
Sorry,
It's
Chris.
only because this has fallen short of what was already, like, not the highest standard, but nevertheless a much higher standard than this, that we're saying, well, I want this to be better. That's the reason we want it to be better, because we used to like what it was doing. But if we don't like what it's doing in this episode, which is the only reason we're saying that, you can't give it above a 4 or a 5, because it's evidently disappointing its own standards.
Marco gave it 10 out of 10, I do believe.
Wow, he's surely trolling.
Which is good for him.
Well, Brownie, you wanted to wrap this shit up on the 2-hour mark, and I present to you the 2-hour mark. So
You've got 2 minutes to fill yet, pal.
I just like to say, right, it doesn't matter what people think of this. If people like this, it's all fine for me.
of
I
course,
don't
yeah.
care. But we're here, all of us. I'm speaking for everybody. We're here to tell you what we think. Do you know what I mean? So don't take
Yeah.
it to heart. It's
Yeah,
just
don't
what
believe our word. We know nothing.
If I'd been dosed up on morphine and lobotomized, I would too be giving it a 10. So that's all good.
you see, that doesn't help.
I don't even think this was written by committee either, really. It was just so flat and boring and uninspiring. Or was it just me?
I think the problem starts off that they didn't do the right thing, which is to make a Boba Fett series and you know the right characters.
Yeah.
You know, it's this stuff that Kathleen Kennedy wanted to have characters far away from the original Star Wars as possible, and that's what she's doing.
Okay. I think we'll finish then, boys and girls. Yes, lots of helmets and a few crotch pits. 7. Please consider donating to the channel. Links in the description, pin message, etc. A few of you already have. Especially if you've enjoyed this, perhaps show your appreciation. That's it. Mandalorian review, season 3, episode
did
1.
it.
We did it.
Here you go, Poe. 5.
Yep. Pretty much says it all.
Are we coming back next week? I think we are.
I mean, it can only get worse, can't it? So why don't we do it?
I think if we saw out the we did Boba Fett, didn't we? So I think if we saw that one out. So
we did.
Can't get that time back.
Yes, and
Okay.
we even made it through Obi-Wan.
No, I didn't. Thank
Channel
God.
favourite Velma Dinklage in the chat. Let's hope it's better next week. We want it to be better, don't we?
Yes.
And I know-
Is Velma talking about the Mandalorian or the stream? That's
Both,
the
probably.
uncertainty. Yeah.
We want it to be better, and I know everybody in the chat want this to be better.
Do you know what, guys? If Jon Favreau was at the panel, would you be brave enough to tell him that this episode was shit?
Yes.
You would.
Yes.
John, it was shit, mate.
That's all we want is some good writing, a nice tight script with excellent dialogue and fleshed out characters. But we just seem to get the same stuff over and over again. It's becoming tiresome.
I don't think he's got any choice.
But you know
though.
what, right? Drinker had those 2 directors on. He was really. wasn't
For
really
Ms. Marvel.
That's right. He wasn't scathing at them at all.
Yeah, well, let's
He
not
was,
go
like,
in
stepping
that,
back,
down that
wasn't
rabbit
he?
hole, please.
So I think if Jon Favreau was on, I think a lot of us would be scared to say it was shit.
Do you want to get him on next week, Brownie?
John, you're invited. I will clip this. Dear Mr. Favreau, I'm going to clip this. I'm going to put it on the Twitter. I will timestamp it for your convenience. We would love you to come on here, mate. That's all I
Yeah.
can
Never say
say.
never.
We
I
don't
mean-
hate you. We want you to do a better job, and we know you're capable of that because you've done it
yeah,
in the
treading
recent
back.
past.
We don't hate you, Favreau. We're just disappointed.
I respect the guy's work. I just feel it's just mitigating circumstances. But
Well, I
anyway,
mean,
okay.
Terry Metalis has been popping up on live streams, so
Yeah.
Well, Terry
Okay.
Metalis went to lunch with the boys, didn't he? Went to lunch with
What, Homelander?
not drinker, what do you call it? Nerderotic
Robin,
and
no,
the gang,
Robin,
didn't he?
Yeah, he schmoozed them. Yeah, okay.
And basically, I wonder if Nerderotic, I wonder if Gary said to him, you know what, it was shit. The first episode was shit. I wonder if he said that to him.
Gary
I don't know.
loves it though, doesn't he? Gary loves the season. Anyway, okay. I think that is it. Chat, you are wonderful. You always bring your A game, and we love you for it. So thank you very much. Ruin, do you want to finish off, as it were?
Well, I'll just finish up by saying if we ever got the real Ryan Johnson on, none of you would have the balls to tell him what you think of his directing. But anyway, yes, excellent work in the chat, very entertaining. And I guess it's just left for me to thank all my fellow guests. So, of course, Zee-ThreePIO, quality
Always a
work,
pleasure,
sir.
sir. Yes.
And Swappers, some great knowledge dropped.
Thank you very much. I'm glad the knowledge outweighed the poop.
Yes, let me just. But Darth Sith Lord Chord, little platoon, sir.
Thank you, and
Excellent
good job
work,
on
as
presenting. And if I log it out long enough, we'll satisfy Brown's OCD by finishing on 0205.
No, it's gone past now.
It's gone.
Did it go at 5
wait.
past?
No,
5 past.
Fucking fuming.
No, it's past it now.
I'm going to point out that it was entirely your fault, Brown, because you kept talking. So that's why
Exactly.
we've gone over
Right.
2 hours.
I delivered
it's
it
always
on
my
2
fault.
hours.
It's like I'm talking now. Moving on.
Mega Geek, thank you as always, sir. I do
worries.
love it when you tear into this shit. It's
not as
really
much
makes
as
my day.
not as much as the Lord though. The Lord taught more, chewed more ass than me. Put it that way.
Oh,
So-
hello. And last but not least, the man himself, the Yorkshire Ripper, as we like to call him.
Cheers, everybody. I would just thank not
I
Brian
didn't do one
for.
start throughout the entire stream, so
we miss you, Brian. We miss
I
you,
would
pal.
just say
Yes,
thank you,
thank you,
Brian,
Brian.
for producing the slides.
Yeah,
thanks,
And
Brian.
last but by no means least, the greatest Hollywood director of recent years, of recent times. It's Ruin the Man, baby.
Oh, thank
Cheers,
you,
buddy.
everyone. Now go watch The Last Jedi and cleanse your souls.
I think that is it. Oh, here we go.
Oh, look at this for a
Never leave
what
a super chat behind. Sheev Burger, $5. Thank you, my friend. If General Walk isn't the main antagonist this season, I'm convinced there's no good writers left in Hollywood.
I'm just hoping we get that flashback to when Grogu was rescued, and it's Moses Ingram's character comes through the door, Darth Reaver, and they go scorched earth and tie it fully into all the shitty side of Disney Star Wars.
Wouldn't she be really old though?
Who cares?
Should be a baby.
Every
can survive
girl's a
anything.
girl.
66 at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah, nothing can kill her. Nothing can kill her. So why not?
Order 66.
It'll be Ray. Ray will do it.
Yeah, or both of them.
Ray. It's all roads lead to Ray, though, don't they? So anyway,
She
Okay.
wants more work, doesn't she?
I think that's it, folks. We'll see you next week. We're on at the weekend. Godfather 2. Take care, everybody.
Adios.
See you next time, baby.